And welcome everybody. You are tuned to Hardhats TV. We come to you live from the world energy capital, Gillette, Wyoming. Mike Fell with you. Where tonight the 14-1 Gillette Riders host your 3-2 post 22 Hardhats from Rapid City, South Dakota. Well, good evening, everybody. It is a brisk, windy evening here in early May. In fact, happy May Day to all of you that celebrate the holiday. Don't know if you went around the maypole today. Don't know whether or not you had anybody ring your doorbell and try to go ahead and do one of those May basket exercises. Maybe you delivered May baskets today, but whatever it may be, hope you had a great May Day, and we're happy you're with us. Well, we have the best connection that we have had all season on Hardhats TV, thanks to the Wi-Fi we have here in America's energy capital, and we are thrilled to have you along with us. These are two great baseball teams, of course, South Dakota and Wyoming, the only remaining states after this next year that have non-sanctioned high school arrangements, and these are two great Legion states and two great Legion programs. Gillette was almost headed to North Carolina to the World Series last year. They were very close, and this should be a great game tonight. On the mound, Broden Sales will take the hill for the Hardhats, and Grayson Sargent will be on the mound to match Broden Sales in what figures to be one of the most entertaining games we have for you here early in the season on Hardhats TV. Well, we're happy you're with us. Looks like our streaming is going smoothly without any lagging, and for those of you that have asked the question, what's the deal? Well, this is quite candidly the first time we have had stable Wi-Fi capabilities all season, and for that we thank the man upstairs, and we appreciate the patience that all of you have shown us over the course of the first 2 weekends of baseball. And we understand our home Wi-Fi has been restored. Our outstanding general manager, Wayne Sullivan, has let us know that. So make yourself comfortable. And again, you will see the video and streaming in real time, ladies and gentlemen, as we have a solid Wi-Fi connection here in the booth here in Gillette, Wyoming. Crowd is arriving, and it's going to be a cool night. I'm sure as fans get off of work that we're going to have more and more fans making their way into the ballpark. And wherever you're tuning in, we're happy you're with us. You may be watching from Elkhorn. You might be watching like our good friend Igor up in Ontario, Canada, or you may be even watching from here in Gillette. Wherever you're tuned in, we're glad you're here on Hardhats TV as we bring you the 3-2 post 22 Hardhats and the 14-1 Gillette Riders. For the Hardhats, on Sunday afternoon we had a thrilling doubleheader to bring you. What a doubleheader it was, as in the game one, the Hardhats took 4 leads in front of the Post 6 Sixers, the defending national runner-up, only to see the Sixers erase all 5 of the leads. And then finally, it was the Sixers in game one rallying for 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to pull out a dramatic walk-off victory, with Nolan Horton delivering the game-winning RBI single. And then in game two, the Hardhats were able to get out to a 5-0 lead, only to see that lead erased. But the Hardhats scored 2 runs in the 5th inning, 2 runs in the 6th inning, 2 runs in the 7th inning, and they rolled to a nice 11-6 victory over the Post 6 Sixers, and that elevated the Hardhats to a split against one of the most formidable opponents in our part of the country, the Wyoming defending state champion and national runner-up, regional champions from Post 6. Well, here it is tonight. The Hardhats will feature Broden Sales on the mound. Broden got some really good relief activity coming out of the bullpen in that 2 out of 3 series victory over Sheridan. And tonight, Broden Sales will start on the mound for South Dakota Hall of Fame coach Kelvin Torvey. This figures to be a very exciting night of baseball, Post 22 versus Gillette. And we're glad you're making your Wednesday night a night with Hardhats TV with all the action. My name is Mike Fell. I'm filling in for the voice of Hardhats TV, Oliver Fell. My son Oliver will be with all of you in just 6 days. Oliver makes the trip north from Phoenix through Denver on up to Rapid City, and it's going to be great to have Oliver bringing you all of the action throughout May, June, July, and early August as far as the Hardhats will go. And I may be with you sometime right before Memorial Day. We're kind of seeing how that plays out. But I will be with you in Billings this weekend. We'll bring you a pair of games coming up on Saturday night, and then a pair of games Sunday morning and early Sunday afternoon. We'll have all 4 of those games coming your way as the Hardhats will take on the Billings Scarlets program at 5 o'clock for first pitch from Joe Pertz Field in Billings, Montana. And then we will bring you the Hardhats versus the Royals in Game 2 of that doubleheader on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, bright and early, grab your donuts. Join us as soon as Mass and church services are over for all of you on Sunday morning, as we will bring you a doubleheader from Billings Sunday morning as well. Not sure who the opponents will be on Sunday, but we do know it'll be the Scarlets and the Royals taking on our Hardhats on Saturday night. And the Oregon is playing. We're getting closer and closer to the introductions. It is a cool evening. In fact, by the time our 9-inning game is completed, National Weather Service is forecasting 41 degrees here in Gillette, Wyoming. It will be a cold night. I brought my San Diego Padres stocking cap if I need to reach for it as the evening goes along here at Hadley Field in Gillette, Wyoming. Well, looking at the dimensions here in Gillette, it's 320 feet down both the right field line to the foul pole and 320 feet to the line down the left field pole. Dead center is 400 feet. The wind is blowing from left to right across your screen. That means the wind is blowing from the west to the east, a little bit from the north to the south. We'll say it's from the northeast to the southeast. And we're happy you're with us. The Riders have a fine tradition. They've already won 14 out of 15 games they've played. So the Hardhats know they're in for a tussle this evening in a hard 9 innings against the Black and Red of Gillette. For the Hardhats, they are in their classic road jerseys with the white numerals, with Hardhats across the front with the white pants. And Broden Sales is getting loosened up, and we're getting ready to go. Sales versus Sargent on the mound. Hardhats versus the Riders in Game 1 of, will be a 2-game series. We believe the Riders will visit Rapid City in June. I was talking with the Riders fine announcer Ian before the game, and he said that these teams will meet up in June in South Dakota. But here we are tonight. The fans are arriving. Temperatures in the low 50s. As the sun starts to set here in Gillette, the temperature will plummet big time. And again, we will be in the low 40s, may even overnight have some snow here in Gillette. and we hope to be out of here before the snow flies tonight. And we're expecting to be out of here before the snow arrives here in Gillette. Well, we're happy you're with us. Looks like we have a good crowd assembled, and we are happy to report we have great Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is working here in the press box here at Hadley Field in Gillette, Wyoming, and we're happy that we do not have the buffering or delayed, lacking, uh, lagging video issues that we had in our opening home series against Sheridan when the home Wi-Fi was not operational. And we also, of course, did not have home field Wi-Fi at Powers Field in Cheyenne over the weekend, and so we used our mobile hotspot to do the best we could do, and that kept our audio going cleanly. But we again apologize. We had the delayed frozen picture issue, but we don't have that tonight. Let's go ahead and tell you what happened in Major League Baseball. So today in the major leagues, there were a number of decisive getaway games and some midweek 3-game series. Let's tell you what happened. First, we'll start with one of Coach Torvey's former big league ball clubs. How about the red hot Minnesota Twins? Bailey Ober picked up his 3rd win of the year, and the Twins won their 10th game in a row, coming from behind to plow the Chicago White Sox 10-5 on the south side of Chicago. How about those Minnesota Twins, winners of 10 straight games, now 17-13? You talk about digging out of an early hole. Well, I guess that's what the Twins did. My son Oliver, the voice of Hardhats TV, he's probably pretty proud right now, I know he is, of his first place Seattle Mariners. They beat the Atlanta Braves 2 games out of 3, but today the Braves avoided the sweep, taking down the Mariners 5-2. Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies, they moved to 10 games over 500, winning 2-1 at the Big A at Anaheim. The Oakland A's in their final season in Oakland downed and blanked the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0. Also, how about my good friend Steve Ammerman and his legendary Kansas City Royals? The Royals beat the Toronto Blue Jays 6-1 north of the border. The Royals not only brought their passports with them, but they brought their bats with them as they win by 5 over Toronto. And the Royals win the series 2 games out of 3. How about Kansas City? Not just a football town these days. They beat the Blue Jays 6-1. And Bobby Witt, truly sensational in the series. And the Detroit Tigers, they win 2 out of 3 in Michigan, defeating the Cardinals 4-1 in a rematch of the 1968 and 1934 and 2006 World Series between those fabled franchises. And my San Diego Padres behind a grand slam, a Slam Diego grand slam, defeat the Cincinnati Reds 6-2. Jake Cronenworth hit the grand slam in the bottom of the 7th inning to lift the Padres to a series victory. San Diego wins 2 out of 3 at Petco Park against Ellie De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds. And that's a look at scores around baseball today. The game happening in Miami. The Rockies, who are 7-22 and are tied with the 1910 St. Louis Browns as the only other team in baseball history to trail in each of their first 29 games played. They are in a scoreless tie against a team with an even worse record than the Rockies, their 1993 National League expansion mates, the Miami Marlins. In the top of the 2nd, in Queens, the Cubs and Mets, no score. Yankees and Orioles, the top 2 teams in the American League East, They're scoreless at the end of 3 innings. And at Fenway Park, the Giants and the Red Sox 0-0. A lot of big games going on around the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, so we'll keep you aware of everything that's going on. Let's go ahead now and look at the starting lineups for both of these ball clubs tonight. The 3-2 post 22 Hardhats trying to get a winning streak going after beating Cheyenne post 6 11-6 in a game we had for you on Hardhats TV. The starting lineups look this way for post 22. Aiden Roberts is going to lead off for Coach Torby, third baseman for the Hardhats. Wilson Kiefer, he will be the number 2 hitter, the shortstop for the Hardhats tonight. Tate Crosthwaite will hit third and play left field. Hitting the cleanup for the Hardhats, it's first baseman Alex Dietrich. Dietrich with the only home run of the season so far for the Hardhats. He had a home run in that, a monster home run to deep left field over the second billboard at Fitzgerald Stadium back in game 3 of that 3-game series against Sheridan. The number 5 hitter is a designated hitter, Hayden Hollick. Hitting 6th, clutch performer, right fielder Aaron Roach. Batting 7th, it's catcher Philip Bentz. The number 8 hitter tonight is center fielder Carter Johnson. And in the 9-hole, the second baseman Dawson Inhofer. So for the Hardhats, it's Roberts, Kiefer, Crosthwaite, Dietrich, Hollick, Roach, Bentz, Johnson, and Inhofer. And again, Broden Sales gets the start for the Hardhats. For the 14-1 homestanding Gillette Riders, Seth Peterson will play short. He will be the leadoff hitter. The number 2 hitter is the third baseman manning the hot corner, Dominic Hecker. The catcher is Riley Schilling. Batting 4th and cleanup, center fielder Mason Drew. The number 5 hitter, first baseman Carver Cardlow. Batting 6th, it's right fielder Kason Loftus. Hitting 7th, it's DH Kelby Foss. Batting 8th is left fielder Jarrett Black. And batting 9th in the 9-hole second baseman Mason Kubacher. Jason Stargent is the starter. Going through the lineups again for the Gillette Rough Riders, it's Peterson, Hecker, Schilling, Drew, Partlow, Loftus, Foss, Black, and Kubacher. And now we will rise and salute our country with the performance of the national anthem. And that was our national anthem. We get ready to go here in Gillette. We have a covered grandstand.
Let's play ball.
And that means if we get any sprinkles, rain showers, snowflakes, the fans for the most part will be covered. We are in an inside press box, and we are moments away from first pitch. Mike Fell with you. filling in for Oliver Fell. I will be in Billings with the Hardhats Saturday night and Sunday morning for a pair of double headers. And then Oliver will be with you as the Hardhats travel across the parking lot to take on the 320 Star Post 320 Stars next Tuesday night. And we're excited to be with all of you fans the next several days. And Oliver can't wait. He's chomping at the bit, you might say, to bring you Hardhats baseball, be around the guys again for another fun summer of baseball. What a ride it is. And it's a real privilege and pleasure for me to fill in for my son and be around Hardhats baseball. And again, happy to report we have a steady Wi-Fi platform tonight, so we do not have that lagging video problem that we've had to kind of suffer through the first 5 games of the season. So here we go. Hardhats TV bringing you the Rough Riders and the Hardhats live from Gillette, Wyoming, the world's energy capital, America's energy capital. A lot of headlines in the news about the administration and the coal industry. We'll just say tensions are high out here. But we are happier with us, and there's nothing like a great night at the ballpark as the Hardhats get set to take on the Riders, who have only lost 1 game all year. Their loss, I understand, came against the Billings Royals. So here we go. Leading off will be Aiden Roberts. Roberts has been very solid so far in the leadoff spot for the Hardhats. And here we go. Grayson Sargent ready to pitch. And we say play ball and welcome to Game 6 of the season. It's the Hardhats and the Riders, and we are underway at Hadley Field. First pitch is over for strike 1 to Aiden Roberts.
Current temperature right now 50 degrees. However, they are fighting a nasty north.
Here comes the second pitch, and that's over for a strike. On these cold, windy nights, usually the strike zone can be a little larger, not smaller. Here comes the next pitch from Sargent to Aiden Roberts. Roberts waits for the first pitch from Sargent. That pitch is behind the hitter, but did not make contact with Roberts, and now the count moves to 1-2. Hardhats trying to get a lead early. They did a fine job of getting leads throughout that doubleheader that they split with Cheyenne Post 6. Ball is hit in the right field, and it is caught by the center fielder for out number 1. Now here comes Wilson Kiefer. Wilson really shined at shortstop in that doubleheader series against Cheyenne. See how he does here at the plate. Here comes a pitch. That pitch is low. Of course, one thing on the mind of many Hardhat fans, how is Wyatt Reeder doing? Don't know the details of Wyatt's medical situation. He was spotted on crutches as he came off the bus, and we wish Wyatt the very best in his recovery and any rehabilitation that's involved. We're thinking of you, Wyatt. We think the world of you and your family. There's a pitch over for a strike. Count now moves to 1-1. Wilson Kiefer working against starting pitcher Grayson Sargent for the Gillette Riders. Here comes the next pitch from Sargent. The right-hander kicks and fires, and that pitch is over and catches the outside corner. Looks like the outside corner is going to be there tonight for both pitchers. Here comes the next pitch from Sargent to Wilson Kiefer. Good crowd on hand tonight. Next pitch is in the dirt for a ball. It's always an event when Post 22 comes to town. Hardhats with a great tradition with over
working
45 state championships to their name in South Dakota Legion history. Here comes the 2-2 pitch from Sargent to Kiefer. Kiefer delivers the pitch, and that's high for a ball, and the count goes full. Here comes the payoff pitch from Sargent to Wilson Kiefer, trying to get on base here at Hadley Field in Gillette.
Last night got to see him taking that bat, which is
Here comes the 3-2 pitch from Sargent. And that pitch is over for a strike. That's a strikeout, and we now bring Tate Crossweight to the plate. See, we got a nice response there from Wyatt. Wyatt, you're in our prayers, and we love you, buddy. Tate Crossweight comes up to bat now, the left-handed slugger for post 22. Here comes the pitch to Tate. And that pitch is drilled foul into the screen for strike one. Hardhats trying to avoid a 1-2-3 inning here against Grayson Sargent to start this ball game. Hadley Field has a field turf infield with a Georgia Bulldogs Big G logo behind home plate. That next pitch is over for a strike. Count moves to 1-1. Tate Crossweight now waits for the 1-1 pitch.
Playing essentially on the line at what's the equivalent of shortstop into first and second.
Here comes the pitch, and that's over for a strike. Strike two. Give Grayson Sargent credit here in the early going. He's really pumping in strikes. So count moves to 1-2. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Ahead in the count is Grayson Sargent. That pitch is hit to the shortstop. It's bobbled, and that is going to be the first base runner of the game, as that will be an E6 as Crossweight reaches on the air on the shortstop for Gillette, Seth Peterson. Now Alex Dietrich will come to bat. Alex Dietrich, if he can hit the ball to right field, and he likes to be he's a pull hitter, so it's unlikely, but if he can hit the ball opposite field and get the ball into that jet stream, that ball has a chance to leave this hitter's park. There's a pitch low, and going back to first base as the ball is handled by the catcher on the deflection is Tate Crossweight. Crossweight with solid speed now waits for the pitch from Dietrich.
From the Gillette area as well. It's one of probably the bigger games of the regular season.
Sargent checks the runner at first. Now looks to his catcher, and that pitch is low for a ball. Alex Dietrich, the first hitter so far in the top of the first inning to get ahead of the ace for Gillette, Grayson Sargent. Hardhats face some really good pitching from Sheridan and Cheyenne. Here's a pitch, and that ball is lifted to the warning track, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. That might score Crossweight. He will score, and that's going to be a sliding triple for Alex Dietrich as he hit the ball in the left center field power alley for an RBI triple. How about that? Dietrich, after the Hardhats were facing the prospect of a 1-2-3 inning, strike for the first run in the game in the top half of the first, and now here comes Hayden Hollick, who had a great trip to Cheyenne. Hollick watches the first pitch go over for a strike. Actually, I think that was out of the zone, but Hollick committed there on a check swing and was called for strike one. Now here comes Hayden Hollick. Second pitch, and there's a swing and a miss. Strike two. Hollick trying to make it a 2-0 game here. Let's see what Hayden can do. He's going to try to protect the plate, no doubt. Here comes the pitch. That ball chopped over the pitcher, up the middle, handled by the second baseman. Throw to first is in time. And Kubacher makes a great play to retire the side. The Hardhats do score a run. On one hit, there was one costly error, and there was one man left on third base in the person of Alex Dietrich. Through a half inning of play here at Hadley Field in Gillette, Wyoming, it's the Hardhats 1 and the Riders nothing. You're watching Hardhats TV. In the bottom of the first inning, Seth Peterson, Dominic Hecker, and Riley Schilling will come to bat for the Riders. And Broden Sales gets loose on the mound. We're happy to have a clean stream for the first time in 6 broadcasts this year. I want to thank the folks here in Gillette, not only for their hospitality, but for their technology, as we are able to bring you a stream without any buffering. And we're really happy to report that we're going to have a smooth May Day broadcast as we bring you a 9-inning game tonight. This is not the only time I have a chance to broadcast from Gillette in a given year. I, on an annual basis, always come to the Early Bird Remax Gillette basketball tournament with St. Thomas More, with the Lady Cavaliers and the Cavaliers, and it's always a lot of fun to spend 3 days in December around the holidays here in Gillette with great basketball being hosted by Thunder Basin High School, the new high school in Gillette, and the longtime high school, Campbell County High School. And it's always fun to come to Gillette to start the high school basketball season for the St. Thomas More programs. And it's fun to be here with the baseball broadcast tonight as yours truly, Mike Fell, filling in for Oliver Fell this evening. Seth Peterson will lead off for Gillette. As Broden Sales, the left-hander, will take the mound and get his first start of the year, I believe. We saw Sales pitch well out of the bullpen against Sheridan in that series victory over the Trooper to start the year at Fitzgerald Stadium. First pitch is a ball. Here comes the next pitch from Broden Sales. Again, the wind coming from the north-northwest. Second pitch is behind the hitter. If Peterson had just held his spot, he probably would have been plunked at his shoe level. Instead, that'll be ball 2, and the count goes to 2-0. Here comes Broden Sales, the left-hander, kicks and fires, and that's over for a strike. No, they say it's a ball. That looked like a strike based on the pitches in the top half of the inning. Count now goes to 3-0. Here comes the next pitch from Sales, and that's over for a strike on the outside corner. Count now moves to 3 balls and 1 strike. Here comes the next pitch. That ball lifted to center, and it is caught for out number 1. Making the grab in center field is Carter Johnson.
We got one down. Coming to the plate number
Let's
11,
go through,
Dominic
in case you're
Hecker.
just joining us, getting off work, let's let you know the lineup in the field. The catcher, of course, Philip Bent. He's been starting behind the plate throughout the season. First base is being manned tonight by Alex Dietrich. Second base being manned by Dawson Enhofer. That's Wyatt Reeder's natural position. Again, we're rooting for a good, fast recovery from Wyatt. The shortstop is Wilson Kiefer tonight. The third baseman, Aiden Roberts. Left field is being handled by Tate Crosswaite. Center, as we just mentioned, being patrolled by the speedy Carter Johnson, and right field being manned by St. Thomas More student Aaron Roach, and a designated hitter tonight is Hayden Hollick. Here come the Hardhats, the pitch count quickly moves to 2-1. Broden Sales trying to retire the second man he faces here in the first. That ball is chopped down the third base line, and the count now moves to 2-2 strikes. If you're just joining us and you haven't heard, Minnesota Twins won their 10th game in a row. They haven't had a win streak like this since the Ron Gardenhire era in Minneapolis. Here's the pitch, and it's outside for a ball. A lot of exciting things happening around Twin Cities sports. The Minnesota Timberwolves swept the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. Here's a pitch, ball lifted to center. Johnson's got it and makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down. Dominic Hecker is retired.
The Rough Rider catcher number 3, Riley Schilling.
Now Riley Schilling comes to bat. Don't know if he's related to legendary pitcher Kurt Schilling of the Phillies or not. Riley Schilling steps into the batter's box, waits for the pitch from Broden Sales. First pitch from Sales is over for strike 1. That was a thing of beauty. That pitch was right where it wanted to be, and it had a little bit of sink at 10 o'clock right there. Here comes the next pitch, or 12 o'clock, I should say. Next pitch is fouled out of play for a strike 2. The Rough Riders trying to avoid a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the first. The Hardhats lead 1-0. If you're just joining us, Alex Dietrich had an RBI triple to drive home Tate Crossway with the first run of the ballgame. It's a cold night. Wind is blowing from left field to right field with some regularity as the flag continues to wave. Ball is chopped foul, and the count stays at 0-2. Broden Sales, he threw a couple of balls to start this first inning, but he has really settled down. Now let's see what his 0-2 pitch number 2 delivers here. Pitch from Sales is a bouncer, and that's ball 1. These teams will play 9 innings tonight. Hardhats so far this season have been playing 7-inning games. But this will be their first 9-inning game of the year. Here comes the pitch. Ball is hit to Kiefer. Kiefer handles it cleanly. Throw to first is in time to retire the side. And that was a great play there by Wilson Kiefer. His throw bounced once or twice, but Alex Dietrich, he's like a Hoover vacuum around first base. And that retires the side there with a 6-3 ground out. So there are no runs, no hits, no errors. No men reach base. And through 1 inning of play here at Hadley Field, it is Post 22-1, Gillette nothing, and you're listening and watching Hardhats TV.
Saying that Riley Schilling did make it in as
Schilling safe at 1.
Not on the base.
Wait a minute. Suddenly we have a reversal of a call. I don't know what was said, but whatever was said or pointed out now puts Riley Schilling on first base. You don't see a reversal this long after the call is initially made. So now the Hardhats are back in the field. It's not a 1-2-3 inning. And that will be a base hit for Riley Schilling. And now here comes Mason Drube, the cleanup hitter. So this is kind of a zombie inning. Just when you thought the first inning was dead, it comes back to life. So the Riders with a zombie inning and maybe a zombie rally, as all of the Hardhats just had to leave the dugout and come back on the field. Here comes a throwback to first. This is the first zombie inning I've seen in a long time. Mason Drube waits for the pitch coming here from Broden Sales. And if you're Broden Sales, that has to be a bit of a deflator. Nobody likes to think a play is over, an inning's over, and then you have to go back out there. One can remember Hall of Fame third baseman George Brett's reaction to the pine tar incident when Billy Martin challenged the pine tar on the bat level back in 1983 at Yankee Stadium. There's a long foul ball that drops to move the count to
Mason Drew.
0-1.
And now with 9 official D1 offers, he's got a couple of D2s as well.
Mason Drew, a fine player. He has a lot of scholarship offers, we understand. I remember Drew playing basketball a couple years ago in Gillette. I think he's just a great all-around athlete. Mason Drew will now wait for the 0-1 pitch from Broden Sales. Throw to first, trying to get the pickoff on Schilling is unsuccessful. Hardhats thought they were through 1 inning of play, but after a long conference and a long delay, the umpires decided Schilling was safe at first. I believe they thought that the first baseman Alex Dietrich was pulled off the bag. Count now 1-2, and here comes Mason Drew. Wonder if they call him the doctor. His initials are MD. Here comes the pitch from Sales to Drew. Drew ahead in the count here. Here comes the pitch, and Drew fouls the ball away. Oh, it's a pop fly. I thought it was a pop foul. My view was a bit obstructed. And that is going to be a sure out this time, as making the catch in right field for the Hardhats is Aaron Roach. And that does complete the first inning, as there was 1 hit, there were no runs, there were no errors, and there was 1 man left on base. Now, through an inning of play, here in Gillette, our score, it's the Hardhats 1 and the Rough Riders nothing. The Hardhats will send Aaron Roach, Philip Bentz, and Carter Johnson to the plate. And if anyone gets on Dawson Inhofer, you're watching Hardhats TV.
As we're getting set now for the top of the second inning here from Lackey Memorial Stadium, where your Riders currently are down 1-0.
We're in we have the second inning about to begin. I'm going to just take a small break, do a little bit of work on my phone here. I'll be right back with the call of the second inning coming up next.
No defensive changes, still a 1-0 game after a big RBI triple from Alex Dietrich made this a 1-0 contest. Connor Brown coming out to check on Riley Schilling to make sure that the crew set his place. It does appear that it is now. As Grayson Sargent wraps up his warm-up pitches, we'll see if we can get some official scores from around some of the bigger national scores. Currently closing the first quarter, Boston.
Coming to the plate at the top of the second, number 23, Aaron Roach.
Game number 5, Boston trying to close out Miami. Right now, halfway through the first period, the Dallas Stars leading the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 in that series. That is tied at 2 apiece with game number 5 on the way. As now we've got Roach standing in right-handed batter's box. The first pitch coming, and that'll be a line shot.
We begin the second inning.
Drew takes it, looks it in, 1 pitch.
Drew makes the
And
catch.
Aaron Roach flies out to Mason Drew in center field to lead things off in the second inning. Now, Philip Bentz will come to bat.
The catcher for today's game. Getting set in the right-handed batter's box. The first pitch coming from Sargent. Just misses high, just missing that outer corner. It'll be 1-0 with 1 away. things steady. As
he
Beck
left it out
fakes the bunt, however, that will be fouled back. Should be a 1-1 count. Correction, the umpire is now saying it's 2-0.
Now coming to bat, as I mentioned, Philip Bentz.
Yes, Benz was able to pull that bunt attempt back in.
Grayson
time.
Sargent
So look for
delivers a
will be a
pitch, and
fly
it's
shot
fouled
out
down the
to
right field line,
inside
and it is
foul.
foul. Philip Bentz
Jason Loftus
picked
was
up a
just
lot
couple
of,
steps behind, but again falls harmlessly to the grass.
was able to get the barrel of the bat on that ball. Keep in mind, if the ball is kind of hit down the line tonight, expect that ball to be pushed foul. There is a lot of foul territory here at Hadley Field.
Right in the batter's box.
The wind is blowing strongly from left field to right field this evening.
And the 2-1.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch. That's over for strike two. So Philip Benz now even in the count. We're happy to have you along with us. Hardhats, if you're just joining us, scored to take a 1-0 lead in the top of the first with a 2-out rally. Dietrich reached on an error. Crossweight reached on an error, and then Alex Dietrich came through with an RBI triple to deep right center field. Here comes the pitch. Ball is lifted for a base hit by Philip Benz, and the Hardhats are in business yet again for the second time in as many innings. Benz gets a single to right field. And now here comes Carter Johnson. I've been really impressed with how Johnson handles the bat, making his first appearance as a Hardhat this year. He's really been playing well. Grayson Sargent with a man on first, throws back to first, and Philip Bentz slides in safely. Guarding Philip Bentz at first base is Rough Riders first baseman Carver Partlow. Here comes a pitch, and that is inside for a ball. Count is 1-0 to Carter Johnson. Johnson now waits for the next pitch.
The lead off over at first from Betts.
Here comes the pitch. The ball is lifted to shallow right field, and it is caught for out number 2. And Philip Benz trots back to first base. Now Dawson Inhofer comes up to bat. Dawson, he is getting the start this evening. Hardhats with a man on and 2 outs, leading 1-0. It is a chilly night, and it looks now like the wind has shifted. It's coming pretty much from the north entirely now, and starting to really blow in. It's going to be very hard to hit a home run on a cold night with the wind blowing in from the north here in Gillette. There's a pitch. First pitch is over for a strike to Dawson Inhofer. Dawson, younger brother of Ridge Inhofer. There's a stolen base attempt, and stealing second easily is Philip Bentz. So Philip Bentz picks up the first stolen base of the ball game for each team. Inhofer now batting with a man in scoring position with a 1-1 count. Grayson Sargent trying to keep Dawson Inhofer off base and retire to side here in the top of the second. Pitch from Sargent's over for a strike. The count moves to 1-2. We're happy we've had smooth streaming for all of you tonight. Something we have battled with Wi-Fi issues at home and in Cheyenne. Understand the home Wi-Fi is working now, and that's great news for the season coming up. Here comes the Pitch from Grayson Sargent.
Schilling setting up outside.
He fires there. It's a swing and a miss, strike three. That's the second strikeout of the game for Grayson Sargent. And the Hardhats are capped off the scoreboard for the first time this evening in the top of the second. There were no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors. And there is one man left on base. Through an inning and a half here at Hadley Field in Gillette. It's post 22-1, and the Rough Riders 0. This is Hardhats TV. Coming up to bat for the Riders in the top of the second inning, it'll be Carver Partlow, the number 5 hitter, Cason Loftus, and finish with this game in Gillette before the skies open. Understand we have a little bit of a connection issue. Now we're back to being successfully reconnected. Don't always know what's going to happen with the Wi-Fi wherever we go, but we've been smooth so far until a moment ago. Here's a pitch to Carver Partlow, and that ball lands past the concession stand out of play. Partlow, the batter, right-handed hitter for Gillette. Broden Sales out for his second inning of work. Hardhats with a 1-0 lead to back Partlow. There has been one error committed in this game. That was back in the first inning that resulted in the Hardhats' first run. Hardhats so far able to put a pair of hits together in each of the first 2 times at bat. There's a pitch, and that's outside for a ball. Or rather, that's a foul. Count goes to 1-2 now. This is a hot chocolate day. I'm watching the fans. They're not drinking Coke or Pepsi here. They are drinking hot chocolate tonight. Count now goes to 2-2. I can't remember the name of the couple that is paying for the admission for everybody, but when you arrive here in Gillette to watch a ball game featuring these 14-1 Gillette Rough Riders, you find out that your admission has been paid by a couple. So nice of those people. There's a chopper to short, throw to first is in time. And that's a 6-3 put out. Wilson Kiefer makes a great play. Both teams wearing long sleeves. I'm trying to see who gets the Tough Guy Bud Grant Award for going with the short sleeves, and I'm not seeing that any hard hat or Rough Rider is going short sleeve tonight. Probably a good idea. Here comes a pitch that's outside. Cason Loftus now the batter. Cason, it's a great first name. I've never seen the name Cason before. That's a great first name. Here comes the next pitch, and that is outside for a ball. Oh, do we have the people here that named Cason?
Yeah, right
here. You are a very smart lady. That's a great name. And if he grows up to be a saint, he'll be the first Saint Cason. There's a pitch over for a ball. Count now goes to 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, and a man retired. No one on base here in the bottom of the second inning. Mike Fell with you, filling in for the voice of Hardhats TV, Oliver Fell. There's a chopper down to Roberts at third. Throw to first is in time. That's the first 5-3 ground out of the evening.
Number 18, Kelby Foss.
Now Kelby Foss is up to bat. Wonder if Kelby Foss might somehow be related to Joe Foss, who has the airport in Sioux Falls named after him. Of course, Joe Foss, the first commissioner of the American Football League back in the 1960s. There's a pitch outside for ball 1. Foss, a designated hitter, batting 7th this evening for Gillette. Riders have won 15 out of their first 15 games so far this year. Truly impressive. Hardhats off to a good start, owning a 1-0 advantage here in the early going. I want to give a shout out to my son Oliver. Don't know if you're watching or not tonight, but if you are, excited to have you behind the microphone. Just 6 more days to go, son. 6 more days. There's a pitch, a swing and a miss. Over for a strike for strike 2. Let's give a shout out to our general manager, Wayne Sullivan. He does so much for us behind the scenes with Hardhats TV.
Pitch misses low and outside, and it'll be 3-1.
Coach Sullivan,
Sorry,
sure appreciate all Coach does.
After Foss, it'll bring up Jared.
Here comes the 3-1 pitch, and that's ball 4. That's the first base on balls being issued so far. Looks like the heater's kicking in for the first time tonight. I didn't know we had a heated press box. Wow. Now here comes Jared Black to bat. So I have a story to tell involving a heater in Gillette, and it's a story that ended well for me. It could have ended terribly. I'll tell it to you between pitches. Jared Black sees a first pitch sail outside for a ball. So I was covering the St. Thomas More Cavaliers 2 years ago at the Remax Early Bird Tournament here in Gillette, and I had the heater blasting and everything, and I fell asleep, and I woke up, and it was about 5 in the morning. There's a chopper in front of the mound. It's handled cleanly. Throw to first is in time. And the catcher, Philip Mentz, makes a great play to retire the side as Partlow, Loftus, and Foss go down 1, 2, 3. That last out recorded on a chopper put out as Bentz makes a 2-3 toss down to Alex Dietrich at first at the end of the inning. Well, I'll finish the story. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base in the second as we go to the 3rd inning with the Hardhats in front 1-0. But I woke up at 5 in the morning and I was a little disoriented. That happens when you just wake up in a hotel that you're not used to waking up in. You're kind of used to where you sleep at home. And I thought I was going to just lean back on the bed, but instead the bed was on the other side of where I was standing. I did a Nestea plunge number to the floor, and I narrowly missed the corner of the heating unit. And man, was I glad I did not have a horrible head injury as I fell back in my hotel room in Gillette. And I'll never forget that close encounter. I mean, I was maybe 3 inches from the corner of that hotel room's heating unit when I was staying in Gillette 2 years ago.
And welcome back to Rough Rider coverage here on
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for my guardian angel right there. So we start the 3rd inning now. We get to the top of the order for the Hardhats. Aiden Roach will...
Top of the lineup.
Aiden Roberts, rather.
Aiden Roberts.
Aiden Roberts will bat. I don't think... sorry about that. Aiden Roberts will lead things off here in the 3rd inning.
Sargent continuing to stay on the mound. And only allowed 2 hits, 1 run on the RBI triple from Alex Dietrich. Sargent otherwise having a typical Grayson Sargent type of game. That's the first pitch.
First pitch is inside for a ball. Now here comes the next pitch to Aiden Roberts from Grayson Sargent. That pitch is outside for a ball. Well, this game I'd say is moving along at medium speed. What I mean by that is it's a 1-0 game. The half innings have not gone quickly, but they haven't gone slowly either. It is definitely a hard night to hit the baseball. The wind is blowing in from left field. It's a north-northeasterly breeze coming in. Here comes the pitch, and north-northwest breeze, I should say. And that pitch there is outside. Count now 3-1 to Roberts. Roberts with great speed. He'd love to get on base to lead off this 3rd inning in this 1-0 game. Ball is hit through the hole between second and short for a base hit, and Aiden Roberts is on. with a leadoff single. And now here comes Wilson Kiefer.
Stepping to the plate, number 15, Wilson Kiefer.
Hardhats get the leadoff man for the first time this evening. So far in the first 2 innings, the Hardhats hit floaters to center field to Mason Drew out there in center. So now the Hardhats with a chance to get something big going with a man on and nobody out. And here comes Wilson Kiefer. First pitch is a foul tip for strike 1. In case you're just joining us and you haven't heard, the Minnesota Twins won their 10th game in a row at U.S. Cellular Field on the south side of Chicago earlier today. The Twins were 7-13 to start the year. Now they're 17-13. What a turnaround for the Twins. Oliver and I, my son and I, will see the Mariners and the Twins next week at Target Field. My son's a Mariners fan, and that basically makes me a Mariners fan too. There's a throwback to first as Roberts slides in safely, avoiding the pickoff. Now here comes Wilson Kiefer. Comes the 1-1 pitch from Sargent. That pitch just off the edge for a ball. Count now moves to 2-1. Kelvin Torvey, he is the manager of the ball club, and he's the third base coach when the Hardhats are operating at the plate. Here's another throw back to first, and they got him. There's a pickoff.
Nice
A
pick
caught
off move
stealing
by your
there.
Riders. We got one down.
Grayson Sargent with a great pickoff move and a sure-handed tag made right there by Carver Partlow, and that'll be a 1-3 pickoff. And now the leadoff man for the 3rd time in as many innings is retired. And then the next pitch is over for a strike. Well, boy, is that a exercise in frustration for the Hardhats. They got the leadoff man on for the first time, but he is quickly erased with a pickoff move, and there's a strikeout. And that is the 3rd strikeout in as many innings for Grayson Sargent. So Sargent helping his own cause with a lightning fast pickoff move to first, and then battling back in the count to retire Wilson Kiefer with the K. And now Tate Crossweight comes up to bat with 2 outs, nobody on. He reached base with an error and scored his first time up. Give Crossweight credit, he did put the ball in play last time, and that ultimately led to him crossing home plate with the only run of the game so far. Here comes the pitch to Crossweight, and that's over for a strike. And the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Here comes the pitch to Tate Crossweight. And that pitch is outside for a ball. Count now goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. There are 2 outs. Tate Crossweight waits for the 2-1 pitch, hits it up the middle, goes to the shortstop, handled cleanly. This time throw to first in time to retire the side. That's a 6-3 ground out if you're scoring along with us. And at the top of the 3rd inning, there are no runs on 1 hit. There were no errors, and there was 1 very big pickoff throw from Sargent to Partlow to catch Aiden Roberts off first base. And there were no men left on base. And through 2.5 innings of play at Hadley Field here in Gillette, at America's energy capital, it's Post 22-1, and the Gillette Rough Riders nothing. The Rough Riders send Black, Kohlbacher, and Peterson due up in the bottom of inning number 3. We're glad you're with us. Hope you're having a nice evening. Hope you're staying warm. It's May Day. It's May 1st. Back in the old Cold War days, May 1st was when the Soviet Union would do their military parade flex outside the Kremlin. But the United States beat the Soviet Union in the Cold War, and now Vladimir Putin and Russia has a lot more problems than the Cold War to deal with in their war against Ukraine. Well, we now go to the bottom of the third inning. Jarrett Black will lead off. Coming to hit back on the mound is Broden Sales.
Dashing to the plate at the bottom of the third, number 2, Mason Kubacher.
Broden Sales, a left-handed pitcher, pitching well.
We'll go back to the top of the lineup.
Hardhats, so far, pitching a shutout with Broden Sales, yet to even allow a rider to reach scoring position tonight. Here comes the pitch to Jarrett Black, and it's outside for a ball. Jarrett, his first time up this evening, waits for the pitch, and it's inside for a ball. Count now goes to 2-0. Want to thank our bus driver, Bubba. He does such a good job every year on these road trips. Really enjoy Bubba's company. Just an enthusiastic gentleman, and he knows how to drive a bus. He is an awesome driver. Way to go, Bubba. There's an inside pitch, and that pitch almost hit Jarrett Black. Instead, that'll be ball 3, and the count goes to 3-1.
As Peterson starts getting ready in the on-deck circle.
You're watching coverage from Gillette, Wyoming. Mike Fell filling in for Oliver Fell here on a cold Wednesday night. Church night here in Gillette. There's a pitch over for a strike. The count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jarrett Black waits now for the pitch. Coming in from Broden Sales. That ball is drilled to deep left field and just foul. That was the best swing that a rider has had on a Broden Sales offering tonight. And if that ball would have just landed fair, that was a surefire double for Jarrett Black. Here comes the next pitch to Jarrett, and that is ball 4.
Draws the leadoff walk.
Jarrett gets a leadoff walk, and that's the first leadoff base runner for the 14-1 Rough Riders tonight. Now here comes Mason Kuhlbacher.
Sets up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yep.
That was Mason Kuhlbacher who reached first base. So now Seth Peterson, the leadoff hitter, coming to bat.
Seth's second time. First pitch looking. Thought about swinging that pitch off.
Seth had a fly ball out to Carter Johnson to lead off the first inning. See how he fares this time. Want to thank all of you tuning in. Great audience watching tonight. There's a ball hit strong and deep to left, but it's caught as it was played perfectly in left field by Tate Crossway. He was positioned right where he needed to be. And that's out number 1 with that fly out to left field. And it should be noted that here in the third inning, the second time through the order, it appears the riders are getting much better lumber, or aluminum to be precise, on the pitches from Broden Sales. Here comes the pitch. It's outside. Throw behind the runner is always one of those plays that kind of makes you get a lump in your throat as the runner gets back to first, and Mason Kuhlbacher is back at first base. Dominic Hecker now the hitter. Dominic also flew out to center field to lead things off in the first inning, and Hecker fouls the ball out of play. Nice facility. Looks like there is a elementary school beyond center field. There's also a Dollar General beyond center field as well. The Dollar General is before you reach the school as the crow flies. There's the next pitch. That's a strike. And some homes are in the distance. This is the 3rd largest city in Wyoming.
Get something out in the left
Here's a
field.
pitch, and that ball is check swing. Throw down to second is not in time. Oh, it is in time. They get the force and the strikeout. So it's a
Kubacher with the heads
looks
up base
like
run and makes it
Kubacher
second.
will
Stepping to the
reach
plate, number
second.
3, Riley Schilling.
That will be a strikeout as Dominic Hecker's retired for the second time in 2 at-bats tonight. And now here comes the very dangerous Riley Schilling. And for the first time tonight, the Riders come to the plate with a man in scoring position as Mason Kuhlbacher represents the tying run in this 1-0 ball game, currently being led by your post 22 Hardhats. Riley Schilling, right-handed hitter, waits for the pitch from Broden Sales. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hardhats leading 1-0 here in Gillette. There's a curveball that didn't want to play ball there. That's outside for a ball. Count now goes to 2-0. Sometimes the curveball doesn't always bend towards home plate. Give Philip Bentz credit for handling that pitch well out of the zone. Here comes the pitch now. The 2-0 pitch from Sales. Sales with 2 out and a man at second throws the ball inside, and the count goes to 3-0. Broden Sales really showing some signs of fatigue here in the 3rd inning. Broden was just in lockdown mode his first time through the order in the first 2 innings. Here comes the pitch now to Riley Schilling. It's a 3-0 pitch. Expect Schilling to be selective, and that's ball 4 as Schilling takes a base on balls. And now here comes the dangerous leadoff hitter, Mason Drube. Mason Drube, you don't bat 4th because you're a light slap hitter. You bat 4th because you can do things when the ball hits the bat. Let's see what happens here as now Broden Sales gets a conference with his catcher Mason Drube, and also coming in to talk is shortstop Wilson Kiefer. So you sense this is one of the most important showdowns in this ball game, this 9-inning game tonight. With the Hardhats leading 1-0, Broden Sales faces cleanup hitter Mason Drube, who was retired with a fly out to right field his first time at bat. Here comes the pitch to Drube. Sales pitches, that pitch is low, and instantly Drube moves ahead in the count. Technically, there is a base open. Broden Sales does not have to aim the pitches or try to force things here, but he has to be careful. Mason Drube is a great all-around athlete, and he can hit the ball a long ways even on a frosty night. Drube hits it hard and high. That ball is going to be called for and caught in center field by Carter Johnson, and Broden Sales gets his man. He retires the leadoff hitter for Gillette, and working around a walk, a pair of walks, the Riders failed to score. There were no hits, there were no errors, and there were 2 men left on first and second base. Through 3 innings of play here at Hadley Field in Gillette, Wyoming, it's post 22-1 and the Hardhats nothing. You're watching Hardhats TV. Coming up for the Hardhats in the top of the 4th, it's Alex Dietrich, Hayden Pollock, and Aaron Roach with the middle of the order for Coach Torvey. And you have to make an observation, and this is a fair one. One of the gentlemen here in the press conference, in the press box, made a great observation, and that is the wind is definitely knocking these fly balls down. And we saw this in Cheyenne. I thought Alex Dietrich was going to leave the park in Game 2 against the Post 6 Sixers in Cheyenne on Sunday afternoon, but a strong north wind knocked a blast right down into a routine fly ball out to left field. And early in the season, the wind definitely can work against the hitters. It seems as though as it warms up and summertime approaches, you don't have the stiff springtime wind from the north that you do this time of year. Well, happy May Day, everybody. If you want to hear a crazy story from my youth about May Day, I'll tell it to you. So we used to do the whole doorbell ding dong dash with May baskets around the neighborhood when I was growing up in Omaha, Nebraska. And one time I thought I'd get fancy and I went inside somebody's open garage and I thought I was ringing an inside doorbell only to realize, oops, I had made myself captive in somebody else's garage as I actually lowered the garage door, and I was pretty rattled as a kid. So make sure you ring the doorbell on the front porch and don't do the inside doorbell and trap yourself in the garage. 1-0 our score. We're now moving into the top of the fourth inning.
Showing up around the standing room area. A lot of people coming out in jackets. It's again this wind absolutely piercing. So we've seen multiple clouds.
Alex Dietrich comes to bat.
It's Kelby Foss gets set on the bump.
Here comes the pitch from Grayson Sargent. And that pitch is outside for a ball.
So
Alex Dietrich, the only hard hat to leave the park so far this season. He hit unofficially a 383-foot tape measure blast to beat the Sheridan Troopers. There's a throw to first, and that's in time. As Seth Peterson does a fine job at short to retire the leadoff man. Well, this game has really settled into a wind-aided pitcher's duel so far tonight here in Gillette. Hayden Hollick now coming up to bat. Well, this community has really exploded in population. First time I came to Gillette was in 1999, and I remember there were only 21,000 people living here. Ball hit hard to center, and that is caught by Mason Drew for the second out.
Over, makes the catch for the second out.
So Dietrich and Hollick are retired quickly, but now there are almost 40,000 people living here in Gillette, and Gillette has 2 high schools and a college. It's a big shout out to Rapid City St. Thomas More basketball legend Caleb Hollenbeck, who played great this year for the Gillette College Pronghorns. Here comes the pitch. That's outside for a ball. I could totally see Caleb Hollenbeck, with the way the transfer portal works, working his way all the way up to like the Missouri Valley Conference or something like that, and starting in the Mo Valley. There's a pitch over for a strike. Count now goes to 1-1. I want to give big congratulations to Tip Ryman. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Arizona Cardinals. A young man from the Rapid City and Sturgis and Sioux Falls area that was picked as a tight end out of the University of Illinois on Friday night in day 2 of the NFL draft. Aaron Roach, now the hitter, batting right-handed, works ahead in the count, 2-1. Hits the ball hard to Peterson at short. Peterson's throw to first is in time, and that is the first 1-2-3 inning of the game, as the Hardhats are retired in the 4, 5, and 6 spots in the middle of the order cleanly. There were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. So we now go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the Hardhats leading 1-0. Carver Partlow, Cason Loftus, and Kelby Foss will come to bat in the 4th inning. And suddenly this game getting a little bit of a groove and tempo to it, as we have quickly worked our way through to this point of the ball game. Carver Partlow will lead off. Carver grounded out to Wilson Kiefer his first time up. Kason Loftus will also come to bat. And the dangerous Kelby Foss, who drew a walk his first time up, he is also in the mix as we move to the fourth inning. I see a fan with an Oakland A's hat. You don't see very many A's fans. You don't even know what city they're going to play in from one year to the next. A's will play in Sacramento next year, and then they're heading
Coming
to
to
Las
the plate,
Vegas.
Rough Rider first baseman number 22, Carver Partlow.
I was in Las Vegas at a radio convention 2 weeks ago and found out that everyone agrees it's a good idea for tourism, but the locals don't seem too excited about Major League Baseball, at least not yet. Of course, it'll be 4 years before the A's become the Las Vegas A's. There's a pitch over for a strike. A lot of people don't know this, but there was a group of people trying to potentially buy the Oakland A's around 2004, and Steve Stone was a part of that group, the legendary Orioles player who also was the sidekick for Harry Carey back in the early days of cable TV with WGN Chicago. There's a pitch over for a strike. But Steve Stone approached a businessman that I worked for once upon a time and tried to get an investment group together and try to buy the A's and move them to Las Vegas, and that was 20 years ago this year. So eventually the A's did leave Oakland and head to Las Vegas, much like the Raiders did. There's a pitch inside for a ball. Count now goes to 2-2. Speaking of Vegas, the Vegas Golden Knights, defending Stanley Cup champion hockey team, they're in a 2-2 first round series with the Dallas Stars on the ice these days. Here comes a pitch from Broden Sales. It's outside for a ball. The count now goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sales would love to retire the leadoff man as the sunshine now comes out from behind the clouds here in Gillette. Here comes the pitch from Broden Sales, and that is a ball.
Partlow with a good battle, gets the leadoff walk.
And Partlow
Stepping to the plate, number 12,
able to
Kason
stand
Loftus.
his ground and defend the plate. And advance to first with a free pass. Here comes Kason Loftus. Kason would love to advance the runner. The Hardhats have a 1-0 lead. If you're just joining us, in the top of the first inning with 2 outs, Alex Dietrich made the Rough Riders pay for a error in the infield as he had a sliding RBI triple that made the score 1-0, a lead that has stayed intact for over an hour of real time now. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Kason Loftus. That pitch is outside for a ball. We're happy you're with us. Happy we have smooth sailing with our internet tonight. Our Wi-Fi stream has been there. We've had smooth broadcast for all 5 of our games, but we've had this lagging video issue, and we apologize for that. We've apologized a number of times. Probably so many times is still not enough, but we apologize sincerely, and we're happy that we have Wi-Fi here at Hadley Field in Gillette, and we're glad you're with us tonight. Kason Loftus ahead in the count, 2-1. Here comes the pitch now from Broden Sales. He looks to first, now fires home. Pitch out, throw behind the runner. Will not get the runner, Carver Partlow. And the count now goes to 3-1. Broden Sales, if he can get through this 4th inning, You might wonder, is he the pitcher of record? No, he's going to have to get through 5 innings tonight, as this is a 9-inning ball game.
The 3-1.
Sales pitch here as Loftus shows bunt is fouled back to the screen, and we're now tied. We're now at a full count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. Big play here, you sense. Can Broden Sales retire the second hitter here in the bottom of the 4th inning in this 1-0 game? Great pitch from Sales. Sales high, though. And that's a walk. And now the 14-1 Gillette Riders really have something going, as pitching coach Nick Ewing will come out and have a conference with Broden Sales. There is activity in the Hardhats bullpen, with the Hardhats sporting a 1-0 lead with 2 on and nobody out. And 68 pitches have been thrown on very icy cold conditions here in Gillette. I shouldn't say icy, but when snow is in the forecast, it kind of icy kind of crosses your vocabulary spectrum. We hope this game can be played before the weather turns. We're supposed to have rain and snow mix after sunset. Sunset in Gillette comes at 8:06 tonight. Kelby Foss now comes up to bat with 2 on and nobody out. The Hardhats, not once but twice, turned some magnificent double plays up the middle, backing up relief pitcher Eli Kelly in Game 1 of that 8-inning thrill fest between Gillette Post 6 and Rapid City Post 22. Kelby Foss, he grounded out.
Vegas Golden Knights tied at 2 at the beginning of the second period. And right now, the Boston Celtics lead to Miami 68-46 at halftime.
Kelby Foss, the batter, waits for the pitch, and he hits it hard, and it's through! Past Dawson and Hofer, and that will load the bases as the Riders have loaded the bases on a base hit. That is the second hit of the ball game for Gillette. And now a very serious situation is to be dealt with by the Hardhats, and Kelvin Torvey will come out for a pitching change. That will end the night for Broden Sales, who goes 3 innings, 69 pitches unofficially, and we will see who will come out of the bullpen for the Hardhats. The Hardhats still with a 1-0 lead, but they are going to have to work around a bases loaded jam as the middle of the order for Gillette, able to populate the bases with nobody being retired. And it looks as though the Hardhats have gone to their bullpen, and we'll see who the pitcher is. Looks like maybe Jaden Moreno is going to be the relief pitcher.
As I mentioned earlier, Boston.
It might be Fredrickson. Rowan Fredrickson is in out of the bullpen. Rowan had a tough appearance in Game 1 of that doubleheader in Cheyenne on Sunday. Rowan was unable to record an out in relief of Lee Negebauer in the bottom of the 5th inning on
the mound now for the Hardhats.
Sunday. We'll see how Rowan Fredrickson fares tonight. Rowan Fredrickson, right-handed pitcher for the Hardhats, throwing his warm-up pitches to Phillip Benz.
Tigers beat the Cardinals 4-1. Brewers beat the Rays 7-1. Twins beat the White Sox 10-5 for their 10th straight.
Let's take a moment and check our scores from the big leagues. My Padres beat the Reds 2 games out of 3, and thanks to a Jake Cronenworth grand slam in the 7th inning, beat the Reds 6-2. Games in progress. The Rockies trail the Marlins 2-1. That means the Rockies have now trailed in every single one of their first 30 games this year. Only the 1910 St. Louis Browns can say they share something in common with this year's last place Rockies. Other scores of note: Phillies moved to 10 games over 500. They beat the Angels 2-1. In the top of the 7th, the Cubs lead the Mets 1-0. And in the 5th inning at Fenway Park, it's the Red Sox 5 and the Giants 2 in interleague play.
Jared Black currently 0 for 1 on the day. Looking to add
And
to his 12 RBI on the season so far.
now Jarrett Blank comes up to bat. Jarrett, with the bases loaded and nobody out, trying to do major damage and give the Riders their first lead of the game. First pitch from Rowan Fredrickson's over for a strike. Rowan would really pick up a lot of confidence if he could get it out to start his appearance here, especially after what happened 3 days ago. Next pitch is high and inside for a ball. One of the things I love about Coach Torvey is if someone gets thrown off their horse, so to speak, he gives them a chance to get back in the saddle right away. And that's what Rowan has, his chance back in the saddle here. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 2 as Jarrett Black was shooting blanks there. Count now goes to 1-2. Want to thank one of our great viewers for saying we got this, Hardhats. I agree with our wise fan, and there's
We got one down.
swing and a miss for strike 1, and you can just see the confidence balloon quickly swell for Rowan Fredrickson as he gets his man to start his relief appearance here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Now the bases are loaded with 1 out, and a ground ball double play would get the Hardhats out of the inning and out of major trouble as the number 9 hitter Mason Kuhlbacher comes in. Here comes a pitch from Rowan. That's just off the plate for ball 1. Mason Kuhlbacher walked his first time up back in the 3rd inning. Mike Fell with you, filling in for Oliver Fell, the voice of Hardhats TV. Oliver will be with you from the Pete Clean Field next week on Tuesday night. And there's a long foul ball, and the Hardhats could have made the catch, but unfortunately for the Hardhats, the ball was a little bit beyond the dead run of Aaron Roach in foul territory down the line. So the count now evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Here comes the next pitcher. Next pitch from Rowan Fredrickson. Here comes the pitch from Rowan, and that ball is high and outside. And the count goes to 2-1. Tying run is at 3rd base for Gillette. The go-ahead run is at 2nd, with the bases loaded and 1 out. The double play is definitely in play if Rowan can get a grounder. There's a pitch over for strike 2, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's see if the Hardhats can win this dance with danger here. Here comes the pitch, and that ball is chopped in front of the plate. Fredrickson with a scoop to first gets the 2nd out, but Kuhlbacher able to drive home the tying run here in the bottom of the 4th as Carver Partlow crosses home plate on that infield grounder. And Loftus moves to 3rd. Kelby Foss is now at 2nd. with first base open, and it's a 1-1 tie. Good job there by Rowan Fredrickson, and if he can just keep it a 1-1 game, we will take it, won't we? Hardhats. Now facing Seth Peterson. Seth 0 for 2 tonight with a pair of fly ball outs to the outfield. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Peterson. That's over for a strike. The count evens at 1-1. Hardhats still dealing with a serious threat from Gillette. 2 men in scoring position at second and third. There's a pitch and a bouncer to home plate, moves the count to 2-1. Peterson with a chance to put the Rough Riders on top here in the bottom of the 4th inning in a 1-1 ball game. Here comes the pitch from Rowan Fredrickson. And the pitch is over. No, he didn't get the call. Wow. I thought that was strike 2, and the umpires saw it very differently than this broadcaster. Here comes the next pitch. And it is fouled away for strike 2. And now the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. There is a base open. Dominic Hecker is in the on-deck circle for Gillette. Here comes the pitch to Peterson. He hits it up the middle, and Fredrickson makes the catch. Rowan Fredrickson, after a rocky road in Cheyenne on Sunday, does a marvelous job coming in and limiting Gillette to only 1 run when they had the bases juiced with Rough Riders and nobody out. How about that tremendous fireman performance by Rowan Fredrickson? Through 4 innings of play, we're all tied at 1. In the bottom of the 4th inning, there was 1 run on a total of 1 hit. There were no errors, and there were a pair of Rough Riders left on base. We've got a good one here at Hadley Field in Gillette, Wyoming. It's Post 22-1, and Gillette won. This is Hardhats TV. We now move to the top of the 5th inning, and I'll tell you, something like Rowan Fredrickson's exciting and effective bounce-back relief appearance has to lift this entire Hardhats ball club. Hardhats trying to deliver Gillette only their 2nd loss in 16 games this year. That's right, the Riders are 14-1. They're the real deal. And you look at the Post 22, they would love to get on that bus driven by our pal Bubba and get to 4-2 and have a happy 2-hour drive to the east when this game is over. We're going to play 9 innings. We're hoping to get this game in before any snowfall, as the National Weather Service calling for rain and snow between sunset at 8:06 and 9 o'clock tonight. The bottom of the order now comes to bat here in the top of the 5th. Philip Bentz, who of course is a catcher, has an ideal idea of where the strike zone stands. Waits for the first pitch from the starter, Grayson Sargent. That first pitch is fouled on a bunt. Philip Bentz trying to bunt his way aboard. That's one way to get to first base. Of course, the Hardhats, a fine bunting ball club, as is a staple of Coach Torvey. There's a pitch over for a strike. Count now moves to 0-2. We thank all of you for watching, and again, our thoughts and prayers are with Wyatt Reeder, as we're thinking of you, Wyatt. We miss you, buddy. Wyatt was hitting over 800 before he had that violent collision with his teammate Tate Crossway, and Wyatt seen on crutches as the bus came back to Rapid City on Sunday night. And Wyatt, just a fine young man, and we just wish the very best for Wyatt and his recovery. And who could forget when Wyatt Reeder hit that home run in Watertown last year on Mother's Day, and his mom got the baseball. What a great moment that was last season. Count now goes to 2-2. Here comes the pitch to Philip Benz. And the pitch is high for ball 3. Benz just trying to get on base and make some havoc and mayhem when he gets there, if he gets there. Grayson Sargent now with the 3-2 pitch to Philip Benz, the number 7 hitter in the lineup. And the ball is lifted high, and the first baseman calls for it, and he's called off by the right fielder. As Kason Loftus comes in to make the catch. Well, Loftus went a long ways, and Kason definitely gets a star for effective communication as he gets the first baseman there, Carver Partlow, to part like the Red Sea to make the catch. Carter Johnson now comes up to bat. Here comes the pitch to Carter Johnson, and Johnson hits it hard to center. That's starting to sail. Now Drew makes the adjustment and makes the grab for the second out in the inning. Johnson hit the ball a long ways, but of course that stiff northerly breeze will knock down just about any hard-hit ball tonight by one of the Hardhats or the Rough Riders. And now 2 men are down with nobody on base for Dawson Inhofer. Here comes the pitch to Dawson. Sargent fires that pitch over. No, they didn't give him the strike.
Kelby Foss on the mound.
Oh, Kelby Foss is on the mound. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Kelby Foss in relief of Grayson Sargent, pitching and doing a fine job, I might say. Here comes a pitch and a swing and a miss for a strike to Dawson Inhofer. Dawson Inhofer, the younger brother of Ridge, who played so well last year for Post 22. Wish Ridge all the best if you're watching. We miss you, buddy. There's a pitch outside. The count goes to 2-1. Ridge Inhofer made an impact with a capital I as in Inhofer last summer. Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Foss to Inhofer, and that ball fouled back to the screen. Well, if you're noticing behind home plate a big G that looks like the Georgia Bulldogs G, it is the Georgia Bulldogs G. That's become a symbol of championship success, as of course Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs have won a couple of national titles in recent vintage. You always think of Herschel Walker. And there's a ball hit to right field, and that'll be a hit for Dawson Inhofer. So Inhofer now 1 for 2. And Aiden Roberts comes to bat as the Hardhats turn over the top of the lineup for a 3rd time tonight. Post 22 now brings Aiden Roberts to bat. Here comes a pitch to Aiden Roberts. Roberts fouls the ball back. Well, this is the energy capital of the world. If you've been keeping up with current events, we'll just put it this way. Our president probably won't schedule any campaign stops here anytime soon. Folks in Gillette are not happy with some recent decisions. There's a throw down to second, and that's out. Number 3. Yes. Dawson Inhofer is caught stealing as that time catcher Riley Schilling flashes his howitzer. And that was an impressive put out there at second base, as that is a 2-6 put out. And at the end of the top of the 5th inning, the Hardhats fail to retake the lead, and this score stays tied at 1-1. In the top of the 5th inning, there are no runs. There was one hit. There were no errors, and there were no men left on base as Inhofer was erased on a caught stealing with a marvelous throw behind the plate from Riley Schilling. We are halfway through this 9-inning affair here in Gillette, Wyoming, and we are in a 1-1 deadlock, and we're happy to have all of you with us wherever you may be watching. Reminder, we will bring you the action from Gillette, Wyoming. 4 games with a doubleheader Saturday night at Joe Pertz Field, followed with a Sunday morning doubleheader.
Number 11, Dominic
It's going to be a lot of fun to go to Billings, Montana. I'm really excited about that, and so is Coach Torvey. Coach Torvey told me the trip to Billings is his favorite road trip every year. And I asked him why, and I thought it was because he liked Joe Pertz Field, or he liked Billings, or he liked that Billings had a Chick-fil-A, or something like that. And no, the answer was maybe what you wouldn't expect. It was that he enjoys the scenic beauty of the Bighorn Mountain Range as you drive from Buffalo through past Sheridan. There's a grounder. Kiefer's got it. Throw to first is in time to retire the leadoff hitter, Dominic Hecker. And Wilson Kiefer, he has just been lights out in the shortstop hole tonight. And really all season to start the year. So now here's the sad part about the trip to Billings. This is going to be the last trip to Billings as Legion baseball in Montana is going the way of the dinosaur, as high school baseball is going to become sanctioned in Big Sky Country starting next year. So enjoy those games from Billings. They'll be part of the history books before you know it. Pitch is fouled out of play by Riley Schilling, and the count now evens at 1-1. Mike Fell with you, filling in for Oliver Fell. Oliver's first broadcast will be Tuesday night from Pete Lean Field as 320 hosts our post-22 Hardhats. Those two teams will meet again after not playing each other last year at Fitzgerald Stadium right before Memorial Day weekend. There's a pitch to Schilling, and Schilling hits it high, and it gets past the center fielder. It's scooped up by the right fielder, and that's a double for Riley Schilling. Riley Schilling with a 2-bagger.
Plate number 24, Mason Drew
is now in scoring position as the go-ahead run for the ever so dangerous cleanup hitter Mason Drew. And Drew comes up with that hangover music, and he waits for the pitch here from Rowan Fredrickson. Fredrickson's pitch, he took something off of that one, is chopped foul in front of the plate for strike 1. Fredrickson can change speeds. Let's see if Fredrickson tries to pull the proverbial string on Drew again. Here comes the pitch from Rowan, and that's over for a strike. Rowan that time threw in a fastball, and let's see if Fredrickson can get the dangerous Mason Drew. Drew so far 0 for 2. Needless to say, Drew is due. Here comes the pitch from Rowan, and it is drilled fair inside the third baseline. That'll give the lead to Gillette. Motoring home is Riley Schilling, and that's a stand-up double down the line by Mason Drew with a marvelous piece of hitting as he was able to thread that pitch between Aiden Roberts and the third base bag down the third base line. And just like that, with the ball rolling along the left field chalk, the Riders have a 2-1 lead, and they have rallied from a 1-0 deficit, trying to get to 15-1 on the season here at Hadley Field. Now here comes Carver Partlow. Carver 0 for 1 tonight with a walk and a run scored. Mason Drube, he has a number of scholarship offers, and he just showed you why. Falling behind in the count 0-2 and delivering a clutch double to give Gillette their first lead of the ball game. It's 2-1 here in the bottom of the second inning. Carver Partlow will try to build on the lead. Here comes a pitch from Rowan Fredrickson. Fredrickson has pitched very well in relief. He is getting all he can handle from a Riders team that is really capable at the plate. Pitch from Fredrickson is low for a ball, and the count goes to 2-1.
To the plate next if it gets past Carver Partlow. One would assume that it would.
Kason Loftus is on the on-deck circle for Gillette. And there's a ball, and it's hit to center field. That's going to score a run. And Gillette takes a 3-1 lead as Carver Partlow gets an RBI single. And now Rowan Fredrickson having some struggles reminiscent of his 5th inning appearance in Cheyenne on Sunday, and we will see a direct message moment here as Philip Benz comes out to talk to Rowan Fredrickson. And we hear about this term DM. Some people say people like me over the age of 50 aren't supposed to drop that term DM, but that's what we have when we have a conference between a catcher and a pitcher. And we just had catcher Philip Benz just try to pick up the confidence of Rowan Fredrickson, who I think's pitched well overall, especially when he got out of trouble and limited Gillette to just 1 run with the bases loaded and nobody out when he came in the bottom of the last inning. But it's now 3-1. With Kason Loftus at the plate, with the Riders leading by 2. Here comes the pitch to Loftus, and that pitch is over for a strike. Count is now squared at 1 ball and 1 strike. Good crowd on hand here in Gillette. Gillette, the 3rd largest city in Wyoming. Casper's the biggest city in the Cowboy State, followed by Cheyenne at number 2. There's an outside pitch for a ball, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think Rock Springs might be the 4th largest. They have the number 4 license plates on their cars in the southwest corner of Wyoming near Bridger Valley. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Kason Loftus. Instead, well, we're going to have a pickoff attempt, and the count remains 2-1.
Loftus currently with 18.
What a great performance by Lee Negebauer on the mound as the starting pitcher on Sunday. He went 4 innings strong, and I mean strong, and he had a 4-1 lead when he exited. He didn't get the decision in that 8-run contest, but boy, has Lee pitched great so far. He had a 10 strikeout, 5-inning masterpiece, the left-handed ace from St. Thomas More. There's a pitch, and that's a base hit by Kason Loftus. And now runners are at first and second with just 1 out. And the Riders have now strung together 4 consecutive hits. And here comes a visit from the pitching coach for post 22. Well, you talk about keeping the line moving. It all started with a double, a 1-out double from Riley Schilling. Then Mason Drube with that masterful slice just inside the third base bag at the hot corner. Made it 2-1. Then it was Carver Partlow getting into the hit parade with a RBI single to make it 3-1. And now Cason Loftus, reminiscent of the 2015 World Series champion Kansas City Royals, keeps the line moving with a base hit of his own in the number 6 spot of the order for Gillette. And that'll bring Kelby Foss, who stands to be at this moment the winning pitcher of record. He has a chance to do some major damage here with 2 on and only 1 out. I don't see any activity in the bullpen for post 22, but that might mean that the relief pitcher for post 22 may come from one of the current players in the infield or outfield for the Hardhats. Hardhats trying to avoid falling to 3-3 on the year. They don't want to be 500 on May Day. They want to be a winning team on May Day. There's a strike over for the first pitch to Kelby Foss, and now it'll be Rowan Fredrickson facing the bottom of the order with 2 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here comes the pitch. Hardhats trailing 3-1. There's a throw down to first. Did he get him? He did! What a great play by Phillip Benz. Benz able to pick off Cason Loftus at first base for the 2nd out. And you talk about a catcher helping out his pitcher. You just saw it right there. Now here comes Kelby Foss with 1 on in scoring position with 2 outs. In a 3-1 ball game, Rowan Fredrickson trying to keep the game close, and there's a wild pitch. And running down to third is Carver Partlow on the wild pitch. And now Kelby Foss with a chance with 2 outs to try to bring home the insurance run. Potential insurance run at third base, and Rowan has to be careful as that pitch is in the dirt.
I did see Jackson Newsom out there. The 2-1 pitch misses low.
Kelby Foss working the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. Here comes Fredrickson's pitch, and that pitch is over. No, it's not. It's inside for ball 4.
Draws a 2-out walk.
Now there are runners at the corners with 2 outs. I can't begin to tell you how big that pickoff play behind the throw down to first by Bentz was.
Stepping to the plate, number 21, Jackson Newsom.
Now Jackson Newsom, the pinch hitter, is up to bat for the Gillette Riders. So pinch hitter Jackson Newsom is up to bat in the 5th inning. Mason Kohlbacher, he is in the on-deck circle. And Jackson Newsom has the nickname the Fresh Prince. How about that? You have to be a good player to get a nickname that way, or you have to have some marvelous moves on the dance floor. Here comes the pitch coming in from Rowan Fredrickson. And that pitch is outside for a ball. Fredrickson trying to limit the damage to just 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th in a 3-1 ball game. There's a throw back to first, and diving back is Kelby Foss. The Hardhats trailing 3-1. They led 1-0 for 3.5 innings. Then the game was tied 1-1 on that RBI.
Got the inner half of the bat. It's a solid black bat with just
single by
patch. That's exactly where the foul ball breathed off of. The 1-1 look from Frederick.
RBI. I'm not sure who got the RBI in the first inning. Come think of it. Anyway. But Hardhats now trail 3-1. Riders have outscored post 20, have out hit post 22 6-4.
p.m.
Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Fredrickson with the runner at third base. And Newsom swings and misses, and the pinch hitter now 1 strike away from going down. And Rowan Fredrickson, he would get a huge amount of slaps on the back and attaboys if he could get Newsom here and keep it a 3-1 ball game. Here comes the pitch. It looks good, but it's high and outside. Give Jackson Newsom credit. I would have swung at that pitch, and I would have been out. Here comes the next pitch with the count full.
Have to believe that Kelby Foss will be on the move as soon as
Here comes the payoff pitch with a man on and 2
And
outs, and then strike 3. Rowan Fredrickson. Yes, he has given up 2 earned runs, but let's put it together for that young man who was unable to retire a single sixer in Cheyenne on Sunday, but tonight is able to work an inning and a third. Check that. Able to work 2 innings and keep this game somewhat close through 5 innings of play in a 9-inning ball game. It's Gillette 3 and Post 22 1. You're watching Hardhats TV. For the Riders, they scored 2 runs. They were earned runs. There were 4 consecutive hits. There were no errors, and there were 2 men left on the corners to end the 5th inning. Through 5 innings of play here in Gillette, Wyoming, in America's energy capital, it's Gillette 3 and Post 22 1. I'm going to take a short break, and when I come back, I will bring you the top of the 6th inning. The camera will keep working, but this broadcaster needs to take a little bit of a timeout, and I'll be back behind the microphone in about 5 minutes. After 5, as I take a brief announcer break, it's 3-2. Gillette ahead of Post 22. This is Hardhats TV.
Let me see what's exactly going on. Harper Park was still at first. Looks like everybody is set. Trying to wind up again. We're going to come
That's
back
no
to
here to like here.
Wilson.
We should lock him in the bathroom. Coming to the plate, number 10, Aiden Roberts.
Or Aiden Roberts, sorry, I apologize. And yes, it is the only substitution. Kobe Craig's now out in left field, replacing Jarrett Black.
Go, Kelby Foss!
Are you sure it's not Grayson Sargent? As Kelby gets ready to start off the top of the 6th, the first pitch
Boy.
will be strike 1 to Roberts.
It's weird, you can actually hear the game.
Roberts 1 for 2 on the day so far. Right-handed hitter once again trying to get set. One of the 4 hits for Post 22. Sposs kicks and deals.
Yes, sir.
Point 1 touches the outer half. It'll now be 0-2. Roberts continuing to get set. That's more of a crouch look with this at bat. As Kelby kicks and deals. Swing and miss there. Riley showing the throw over to first. It's in time. Drop 3rd strike.
That's 1 down for your Rough Riders.
First out.
Coming up, number 15, Wilson Kiefer.
As Wilson Kiefer now coming up to the plate. Foss currently only has 24 pitches going against him right now. So putting in some fantastic work. Came in the top of the 4th. Only had to throw 7. Making quick, easy work so far. The first pitch will be a bunt attempt. That's going to pop straight up to Riley Schilling.
Nice play by your catcher, Riley Schilling. 2 down.
To get 2 outs. And this is
That
the
brings
top
up
lineup for
number
Post
29,
22.
Tate Crossway.
So this is predominantly where you see a lot of your offense being manufactured, but 4 pitches, 2 away. As Tate Crossway, the left-handed batter, now stepping into the box. Let's see what Kelby has in store for him. The first pitch. Just going to miss the inside Peyton. It'll be 1-0. Boss trying to pull Michelangelo there. Just missing the canvas. The 1-0 look from Kelby. Once again, misses inside. It'll be 2-0. Trying to get Crossway to saw something off and jam him up rather than deposit something out into the outfield. Crossway 0 for 2. And the 2-0 has to spin out of the way to avoid that pitch. It'll now be 3 balls and no strikes. 2 away. Crossway hoping to get a 4-pitch walk unless he gets an absolute meatball over the plate. The 3-0. This time he does catch the other half. It'll be 3-1. Crossway more than happy taking that pitch looking. And the batter's advantage still considered to be at an advantage. And the 3-1 look. Big swing and miss there from Crossway as it now brings the count full. It's 3-2. Boss trying to close things out. Make easy work here in the top of the 6th. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. No batters on. And the 3-2 from Kelby will be fouled. Straight back into the netting. And here we stay 3-2. As Dietrich is in the on-deck circle waiting, ready and waiting. See if he'll come up to the plate here in the 6th or if he'll have to wait till the 7th. Boss getting settled in. The 3-2 look. Big swing. It's a real foul out to the left-hand side. That might actually end up in the parking lot on the left side for once. Most of the foul balls end up in the parking lot over where the players and coaches park, if not into the trees. Count remains 3-2 as Foss takes his deep breath. The kick, the 3-2. Line shot, and that will be caught by Cross.
Nice snap by Cardinal. That's 3.
Couldn't have put that anywhere else. Could Crossway as Cardinal Parklow just has to reach across his body with his left hand, make the snag, and that is 3 away. We move on to the bottom of the 6th. Riders continue to lead 3-1 here on 106.7 The Legend. Is that just a regular soft pretzel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in the zone, man.
I
She's in the
I
zone.
was gonna say she looks like the girl from IHOP when she gets the pancakes.
She's in heaven. She's in heaven with that pretzel.
No, rabbits, or I think it's spearfish. They do pretzel bites, but they're stuffed with mozzarella cheese on the inside. Really, really good.
Casper has the best pretzel.
Casper does?
So good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
They don't even look like Casper. Caspers look like homemade looking pretzels.
Yeah, like the pretzel making pretzels.
Yeah, they're
I was
really
gonna say,
good.
the smell of
You
the
never-
pretzels just slowly wafting its way over and it's like,
Yeah.
I think we got a pitching change. Yep.
And I'm back. Appreciate everyone's patience
Picture on the
there.
mound for the
With
Hardhats.
It's gonna be
my
Roberts.
need to take
Number
a
10,
break.
Nate Roberts.
Just kind of happens sometimes.
We move on
And,
to the bottom of the 6th inning.
It's a
as
work
now the
day
third
for
different pitcher
me,
for the
and
Hardhats
it's
coming
also
onto the mound.
a.
Coming to the plate, the bottom of the 6th. Number 2, Mason Kubak.
Sometimes you just have to leave the microphone. So appreciate your patience with not having any play-by-play in that top of the 6th. Score remains 3-1.
Now coming to the plate will be number 2.
And we now move to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we have a pitching change as Dominic Hecker, Riley Schilling, and Mason Drube are due up here in the bottom of the 6th. Yep. Kohlbacher's up. Mason Kohlbacher is leading off. Thank you. as we go to the bottom of the sixth inning. Mason is 0 for 1 with an RBI infield hit back in the fourth inning. That's where that RBI came from in the fourth inning. I was looking at my scorebook. I'm like, who got that RBI? And it was Mason Kulbacher who got the first RBI of the game for Gillette. Kulbacher lifts the ball to right field, and it's caught for out number 1 here in the sixth inning.
Nice hit by Kulbacher to right field.
And now we've got Nate Perlingberg now coming out to head over to third.
We got one down. Coming to the plate, number 4, Seth Peterson.
Back to the top of the lineup we go with Seth Peterson in his fourth at bat, currently 0 for 3, looking to reverse that trend quickly.
Now here comes Seth Peterson. Seth 0 for 3 in this one. But boy, has he played well at shortstop in the field. Here's a pitch, and that is low for a ball.
Peterson keeps the bat on the shoulder.
I want to give a big compliment to the concession stand here in Gillette. They have reasonable prices. They really charge a fair price. There's a pitch down the left field line, and not everywhere you go are you paying reasonable prices for concessions at the old ballpark. It was really nice to see what the pricing was. I was able to get a candy bar and a pop for just $4 here. That is good. Here comes a 1-1 pitch to Seth Peterson, and that is out inside for a ball. It's 2 balls, 1 strike.
7 singles, 2 doubles, 2 triples. Have to think eventually he may try for an inside park.
Here comes a grounder to Aiden Roberts. Throw to first is not going to be in time.
Peterson beats out the throw.
Seth Peterson with an infield
We got one
single.
down now to plate number 11, Dominic Hecker.
Well, the lights are on now, and we have cloudy conditions. Suddenly it's starting to feel more like a night game than a day game, or a twilight game. And Dominic Hecker comes up to bat with some Bee Gees walk-up music. Everybody likes the Bee Gees. Here comes the pitch. And that pitch is over for a strike.
Dom Hecker now at the plate.
Trying to see who the relief pitcher is for the Hardhats.
Looking in is Wilson. And the next pitch. This time we'll catch the bottom of the strike zone. It'll be 0-2. So Aiden Wilson put in some decent work. Making Dom work for it. Peterson gets his lead off at first. And now the throw over first not going to be.
It looks like Aiden Roberts has moved over to pitch. He has. So Roberts is pitching. I think that's Hayden Hollick over at third base. So Roberts is on the mound. There's a pitch. It's inside.
And that will be down the turf. Great snag there from Bentz, trying to keep Peterson at bay, keeps him at first, as he's able to keep the ball in his glove. Still 1 away in the 1-2 look for Roberts.
Comes the pitch to Hecker, and that's going to be a strikeout.
Hecker goes down swinging.
Aiden Roberts
Coming to the plate,
gets
number 3, Riley.
the strikeout.
On his luster.
So now there is 1 on and 2 outs here in the bottom of the sixth inning.
That'll bring up a Riley Schilling.
And Riley Schilling is the batter. Schilling, he is 2 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. He's had a great game. There's a throw to first. It was almost a successful pickoff. Both teams have been able to pick off players at first base in different ways tonight. It's been an entertaining ball game between 2 very good teams. Here's a pitch. It's in the dirt, and advancing to second is Seth Peterson. So now again, the Riders have a runner in scoring position as Aiden Roberts tries to keep it a 3-1 game here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Hardhats tonight playing without Wyatt Reeder. Wish Wyatt the very best in his recovery.
Get away from the catcher. However, he's able to retrieve the ball quickly.
Wyatt had a phenomenal first series to start the year against Sheridan. He currently has a batting average over 800.
Umpire once again gets set. Riley Schilling stepping back into the batter's box.
Go, Riley!
2 ball, no strikes, 2 away with the batter on second for Riley Schilling. The 2-0.
Here comes the 2-0 pitch. It gets away.
From the catcher.
Count now moves to 3-0.
That's back-to-back pitches that have gotten away from Phillip Benz. Have to think eventually if one gets too much further away, Seth Peterson will try to get over to third base. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 away. Roberts looks back to second.
Here comes the pitch to Riley.
It's going to miss outside.
And it's outside for ball
Schilling
4.
grounds the 2-out walk.
And that'll bring up Mason Drew to the plate.
Next up, number
And
24,
now-
Mason Drew.
Mason Drew. Extremely dangerous
RBI doubles.
cleanup hitter for Gillette, who has many scholarship offers to choose from.
That we are currently at.
Gets ready to
Game so far.
hit with 2 on and 2 out here in the bottom of the
Left
6th.
center field, try to bring home 2.
Let's wait for the pitch here
Pitch.
from Roberts to Drew, and that pitch misses the strike zone inside for ball 1.
And wind dying off. So it looks like these clouds that have been hovering over the stadium for the last half hour or so.
Here comes the pitch, and it's over for a strike.
Next pitch.
Hayden Roberts,
The outer half.
a complete ball player, showing his versatility at this moment, coming on in relief of Rowan Fredrickson here in the 6th inning.
Peterson feints joining the steel third, and now that'll have Roberts stepping.
Roberts looks back the runner to second base. At second base, it's Seth Peterson. At first, it's Riley Schilling. And cleanup hitter Mason Drew trying to break this game wide open. Drew makes contact and chops the ball foul down the third base line. Count now 1-2, and Aiden Roberts is 1 strikeout away from getting out of trouble and keeping this game close, with the Hardhats set to bring the heart of their order up to the plate next inning. Ball is fouled away, and we will continue on. It is 7:31 local time. Sun going to set here in Gillette at 8:06, and we're hoping to avoid any cold, icy snow rain mix. Hope we have a smooth ride home too. Ball is lifted to center. It might drop, and it is caught. What a catch! What an amazing catch by Carter Johnson!
That's 3.
Carter Johnson makes the catch of the year for post 22 and keeps this score 3-1. Well, not once, not twice, but 3 times, the Hardhats have kept this game from becoming lopsided in favor of the home team here in Gillette. And let's see if the Hardhats can muster a rally and a comeback. They have been able to work out of a bases loaded jam in the 4th, keep it 1-1. Then in the 5th, they found a way, after giving up 4 straight hits, including 2 extra base hits, to keep it 3-1. And then you just saw the catch of the season so far in center under the lights. Carter Johnson, with his blistering speed, raced in and made a great basket catch before the ball hit the grass to keep it 3-1. Well, in the bottom of the 6th inning, for the first time since the 3rd inning, the Riders are kept off the scoreboard. There were no runs. There was 1 hit. There were no errors. And There were two men left on base. One would have certainly scored if that catch was not made on that run-scoring grab off the bat of Mason Drew. We have played 6 innings in a 9-inning game. Our score, Gillette 3, Rapid City Post 22 1. You're watching Hardhats TV.
The Riders continue to lead 3-1. 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 official error scored against. For Post 22, again, just 1 run in the first. They only have 4 hits in the entire ball game.
Starting things off in the top of the 7th for the Hardhats.
To continue his
Number 27, Alex Dietrich.
Foss, 3 innings pitched, only 1 hit allowed, 1 strikeout. And that is really it. No runs, no walks. Couldn't ask much more from your number 2 pitcher in the stable. Currently at 33 pitches.
And we begin now the 7th inning. Mike Fell with you from Gillette, Wyoming, America's energy capital, America's coal capital. There's a throw outside for a ball. Kelby Foss in for 7th inning. Alex Dietrich leads things off after the Hardhats' first 3 batters went down 1, 2, 3 in the 6th inning.
Where he started. Next pitch foul off the top of the bat, straight back into the nutting. It'll be 1-1.
Count now goes to 1-1 on a foul cut by Alex Dietrich. Dietrich with great power. Only Hardhat to leave the yard so far this year. And he'll be the only Hardhat who was able to hit a home run in April, because we are now in May. There's a dribbler to short second, and the flip is in time to retire Alex Dietrich.
We got 1 down.
Hayden Hollick
Hayden Hollick
will now come to bat. Hayden had a good day in Cheyenne. I want to give a shout out to my son, the voice of Hardhats TV, Oliver Fell. He will be with you in just 6 days as the 320 Stars will host the Post 22 Hardhats. First meeting between the two teams in 2 years. Here comes a pitch to Hayden Hollick from Kelby Foss, and that's over for a strike. Kelby Foss has been great in relief, backing up a very solid start from starter Grayson Sargent. Here comes the pitch from Foss, and it's high and outside for a ball. Count is even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Hardhats trying to mount a comeback here. We're in the 7th inning, but this is a 9-inning game, I'm told. Here comes the pitch. It's hit hard right to the shortstop. Throw to first is in time to retire Hayden Hollick, and Hollick
we got 2 down.
is now 0 for 3 on the evening. Here comes Aaron Roach. Roach, he's 0 for 2. Doesn't want to wear the 0-3 collar. Roach has been clutch. Last year, he started the season so well. He had the highest team on-base percentage through the first month and a half of the season. Here comes a pitch from Kelby Foss. It's over for strike 1. Kelby has been doing a marvelous job of staying in front of hitters, and to this observer's vantage point, Foss is better now than when he came in the game. He's getting stronger as he goes. Showing bunt is Aaron Roach, and he pulls the bat back for ball 1. On deck is Philip Bentz. Hardhats need base runners. They trail 3-1. We're here in the top of the 7th inning in Gillette. Here comes a low pitch outside. Make sure you tune in Saturday night. That's Saturday night at 4:45. I'll be bringing you a nighttime doubleheader as the Hardhats visit Billings, Montana, Joe Pertz Field, right across the street from the Rimrock Mall in Billings. Here comes the pitch. That's a swing and a miss for strike 2. And the Hardhats will have a doubleheader Saturday night. They'll play the Scarlets in game 1, the Royals in game 2, and then they'll have a doubleheader on Sunday morning and early Sunday afternoon. 4 games coming your way in about 24 hours. There's a chopper down the line, flip to first, not in time. Wait, they call him out. He was safe. They need to talk this over. That call was not correct. Let's let the officials sort it out. He was clearly safe by more than a step beyond the bag. We may have one of those zombie inning-ending changes of heart here if the officials will talk to each other and get it right. But they're coming out. Looks like they're that's gonna stand somehow. That was clearly a shovel to first after the base runner had touched the bag. But that will be out number 3. So officially, that is a 4-3 putout in a 1-2-3 inning. Unless we change course, I don't think we're going to. The officials look like they're going to let that call stand. You can put a little mark on it if you want to on your scorebook. We have played 6.5 innings of play. Gillette 3, Post 22 1. This is Hardhats TV.
I was getting ready to reach.
We now make our way to the bottom of the 7th inning. We're in the 7th inning stretch.
I'm gonna lock him out. Watch this. I'm locking him out.
He said, "No, I don't want the cold air out there. Y'all can stay freezing."
Your little adapters, sweet. Yeah, you should get paid for this.
We're glad to have you along with us. Got a little bit of a glare
Coming to
with
the plate in the bottom of the 7th, number
lights
22, Carver.
and our inside press box. We apologize for that glare. I hate the glare, but the lights are on the field. They're on here. We have a covered grandstand, and we're going to have some glare because we cannot lower this window. We would freeze ourselves out to give you a better picture. We are wired that way. But we are going to have a bit of a glare the rest of the way, and we apologize. Coming up now to bat in the bottom of the 7th will be Carver Partlow, Kason Loftus, and Kelby Foss. Partlow 1 for 2 with an RBI tonight. Gillette leading Post 22 3-1. The Riders were very close to making it to the World Series last year in Shelby, North Carolina. They really improved as the year went along, and they're off to a dynamite start this year, leading this game 3-1 and being 14-1 so far. Partlow watches Aiden Roberts sail a pitch over the outside corner, and the count goes to 2-2. Here comes the pitch, and the ball is lifted to right field, and it will be caught for the first out of the 7th inning.
That brings
Partlow now 1 for 3 on the ball game, and now Kason Loftus will come to bat. Kason 1 for 2. And has reached base twice tonight. Rain is starting to move into the area. It's starting to rain. You wouldn't think that this would be a night with a cold night like this with this type of rain. You're either going to play through the drizzle and freeze through the drizzle, or you're not going to wait for the storm to pass, quote unquote, because this is a cold night. Got a little message. Is that you, Oliver? Nope. It's Oliver's dad tonight that is behind the microphone. Oliver will be with you in 6 days when the 320 Stars resume their rivalry with the Post 22 Hardhats. Counts now goes to 3-0 to Case and Loftus. Nobody on, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 7th. We're going to play 9 innings of baseball, we think. Somebody brought their dog and they decided to leave. They think it's too wet and cold for the dog. Dog has had enough, or the human has. And there's a ball of 4.
Come to the plate
Speaking
number
of
18,
dog.
Kelby Foss.
Speaking of dogs, how can we forget that trip to Watertown when we saw that giant, what I mean called sandlot dog, the type of drooling, gigantic Great Dane, not Great Dane, what do you call him? I don't know, it's a
Mastiff.
Mastiff, thank you, big Mastiff that was near one of the foul balls on Mother's Day in Watertown last year. Oliver did one of his first little social media pieces on the Sandlot dog last year. There's a throw down to first. The tag is applied, but getting back safely is Case and Loftus. Kelby Foss is the hitter. There's 1 on, 1 out. Hardhats trailing 3-1. We have a steady mist. The weather right now resembles a typical spring night in Seattle. We now make our see our count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The Riders have out-hit the Hardhats 6-4. They lead on the scoreboard 3-1. Post 22 wants to keep it close here and make a charge in the cold rain down the stretch. And we may see this rain turn over to snow. We are at high elevation here in Gillette, Wyoming. And May 1st does not give you a free pass in Gillette, or in any part of Wyoming for that matter, from seeing snowfall. Here comes a pitch from Roberts. There's a chopper. It goes right through Hollick. Kiefer's got it. Now he's got a chance to make a tag. And the ball goes away. And a run's going to score. Helter skelter all around. And the Riders see Case and Loftus score on an error. And Kelby Foss, he will reach on an error. There'll be an E5, and then there will be Case and Loftus scoring on an E4, I believe, on a throw back across the diamond. So a pair of errors on the same play make it 4-1. And the Riders have a runner at second base in the person of Kelby Foss, as now Jackson Newsom comes back up to hit for the second. Oh, Colby Craig? Colby Craig is now the hitter, the pinch hitter here in the 7th inning, with the Riders leading 4-1. Well, now this game's now being played in miserable conditions. Temperature maybe around 40 degrees. The fans in the covered grandstand here shivering but hanging tough. And we are watching these teams trying to win a big game on the 1st of May. Riders have out-hit the Hardhats 7-4. By the way, Foss does get a single officially. There was an error on that play, on the throw, but Foss reaches on a single, it was ruled. So 7 hits for the Riders, 4 hits for the Hardhats. Here comes a pitch, and it's low and outside to Colby Craig. Colby Craig working the count in his favor, 3-0. Want to thank all of you for watching. If you like the broadcast, let us know. That increases the availability on YouTube. The more likes a broadcast gets, the more likely it is to proliferate through the Google algorithms. Count is now 3-1 to Colby Craig. Pitch from Roberts, fouled out of
Heads
play.
up, out of play.
And the count is now full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Brings the count full to 3-2.
Hardhats retired the first batter for Gillette to start the bottom of the 7th, but now there's a man in scoring position and the riders already have a run across.
3-2.
Ball chopped, and it's dropped. Throw to first is in time. Good recovery play by
We got 2 down.
Hayden Hollick right there. That was a good play under challenging circumstances and inclement weather by Hayden Hollick, who began this game tonight as a doubleheader. So it is 4-1 now with 2 outs. Mason Kohlbacher coming to the plate. Kelvin Torvey talking to Aiden Roberts, and it looks like we have a pitching change. That'll do it for Aiden Roberts. And the new pitcher is Hayden Hollick. Hayden Hollick is the new pitcher with 2 out and 1 on base at second for the Riders.
New pitcher for the Hardhats, number 20, Hayden Hollick.
So Hayden Hollick made a great play a moment ago on the left side of the infield, and then he makes a very important appearance. It's still a 3-run game. It is still very much a game. The Hardhats trail Gillette 4-1. If the Hardhats can find a way to get on base, put some pressure against Kelby Foss, who is in a serious groove through the last 4 innings of relief work. You never know what can happen. This game is just a very different game. Very different than the games we had in Cheyenne on Sunday afternoon, I might add. I want to thank you all for watching. We now have the largest audience for one of our road broadcasts this year. We appreciate all of you tuning in here on Hardhats TV, wherever you may be watching.
17 to 23 mile-an-hour winds, and the mist once again coming from the southwest, pushing north.
Hayden Hollick putting in his warm-up tosses.
I believe that this mist may be sticking around for quite some time.
And it sure has been fun to be with you to start the season.
Coming to the plate.
I'll be with you
With 2
for the
outs.
weekend.
Number 2.
Doubleheaders Saturday night and
Kuba.
Sunday morning in Billings, as the Hardhats will play 4 games in under 24 hours in Montana. And then the Hardhats will come home next Tuesday, but they will not be at home. They will play at Peatline Field against the 320 Stars, and Oliver will have the call for you, and that'll be great. Got a nice little hi, Mike, and hi to you, great fan. Try not to give the name of the fans who send these messages in, just to respect privacy, but hi to you. Here we go. Here comes the pitch, and that is over for a strike. The count is 2-0. Mason Kohlbacher trying to bring home Kelby Foss, who stands as the pitcher of record at the moment for Gillette. Hayden Hollick's pitch is off the plate and inside for a ball, and the count is quickly at 3-0. Hayden Hollick has a base open at first. He doesn't have to force anything, but he's facing the number 9 hitter. There's a pitch over for a strike as Mason was taking all the way. Appreciate all of you great fans watching. Here Comes Hasten. Here comes Hayden Hollick, and he throws a ball. No, the umpire says that's a strike, not a ball.
Kubacher draws a 2-out walk.
Nope, they're going to say it's a ball. Now, there's some confusion. The umpire's talking things over, and they're going to say the at-bat continues.
It was a strike.
So that's a strike. So the count is now full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. If you were confused, you're not alone. The batter was confused. Several players were confused. And this broadcaster, I can't speak for my outstanding counterpart, Ian, calling the game for the Gillette fans, if he was confused. But the confusion is now a thing of the past as the pitch from Hayden Hollick to Mason Kuhlbacher is fouled away, out of play. Hardhats trying to cling to keeping this game close. It's 4-1, Gillette leading by 3. I apologize, we got a little bit of a glare. You're seeing some of my head on the reflection and the camera on the reflection, but nothing we can do about it. And there's a fair ball down the line. That's going to bring home a run. There's an RBI single for Mason Kuhlbacher. Kuhlbacher with a second RBI of the ball game.
Run scores.
And that brings home Kelby Foss, who now has a 4-run lead to work with on the mound as he stands as the pitcher of record. And that turns the lineup over for Seth Peterson. And wait a minute, did we have an out?
Now what's going on?
Well,
Mason was not done first.
Yeah, they called him out.
They called
They
him
called
out
him out.
because he turned the base.
Because they
Mason's
tagged, I mean,
Mason's
he was safe.
called
He was called out.
out. Okay, but they did bring home the run.
The run scores.
The run counts, so Mason is out at first base, 7-3, and if you're scoring along with us. But the Riders get a very significant pair of insurance runs and now have a 5-1 advantage and have doubled up the Hardhats in the hit department 8-4. So in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Rough Riders score 2 runs. There were no hits. There was 1 error, and there were no men left on base. Through 7 innings of play in our 9-inning game, it's Gillette 5, Post 22 1. This is Hardhats TV. And Kelby Foss is out of the game. We have a new pitcher for Gillette. That has to raise some kind of buoyancy for the Hardhats. This is not a save situation as we begin the 8th inning with the Rough Riders leading by 4 runs. But we will have an appearance by Carver Partlow. So Carver Partlow comes in for some KP duty, you might say. If you're a military veteran, you get that reference. Of course, I'm not a military veteran. I just remember Sergeant Holka assigning KP duty during the Bill Murray movie Stripes. There's a pitch over for outside for a ball. Philip Bentz leads the way to start off things here with the bottom of the order coming up for Post 22. Here comes a pitch from Partlow, and that ball is chopped to the third baseman. He has it. Throw to first is behind the bag, and it gets away. That'll be a throwing error on the third baseman, and taking second base as the leadoff man is Philip Bentz. That's an E5 if you're scoring along with us. And now Carter Johnson comes up to bat. And the Hardhats get something going. Well, first of all, the leadoff man is on board for the Hardhats. But secondly,
Hardhats now have a battle.
Kelby Foss is no longer on the mound. It's somebody else. And that's a welcome sight for sore eyes for this Hardhats lineup.
Still officially
Hardhats have seen enough of Kelby Foss's
22
flowing Goldilocks. Here comes the next pitch to Carter Johnson.
to the plate.
And there's a play throw back to second, and somehow the throw went to the second,
Went wide.
the first base side of the bag, just high enough and far enough away that catcher Philip Bentz, on a slippery track, was able to get back to second base.
Come back to square.
Carter Johnson now waits for the pitch
First official pitch
from Partlow, and that is high and inside.
It'll be 1-0.
The count goes to 1-0.
Has completely switched
The
directions
Hardhats trying to
from the
drive home a run and get back to making it a 3-run ball game. There's still time to work with. Riders need to get 6 outs to get the win. We're in the 8th inning. Ball is fouled and popped up to the second baseman, and it is caught for out number 1. That's a big out for
Kuhlbacher
Partlow.
with the catch for the first out.
Mason Kuhlbacher, who
Coming in
had
plate number 14, Dawson and Hofer.
an RBI a little while ago, makes a big grab in the infield with that catch. And now here comes Dawson Inhofer. Dawson trying to bring home Philip Bentz. Hardhats trailing by 4 runs. It's 5-1 in the top of the 8th inning here on a rain-soaked, cold and chilly Gillette, Wyoming night. There's a bunt and it goes all the way back to the screen. Give credit for Gillette's catcher, Riley Schilling. He read that all the way. He read it perfectly. But sometimes the read is not enough, and that's what happened that time as the bunt sailed all the way back to the screen. There is plenty of foul territory here in Gillette. Show me another ballpark with more foul territory besides Watertown, South Dakota than this one. 1-1 pitch, another throw back to second, and they didn't get him this time. Somehow he avoided the tag, and right now, I'll tell you what, Philip Bentz on these throws back to second. This is to change the name of a popular movie in the 80s. This is the inning of living dangerously for Philip Bentz. Ball hit up the middle, handled by the shortstop. Throw to first is in time to retire Dawson Inhofer, and that advances Philip Bentz to third base.
Number 10, Aiden Roberts.
Now we get to the top of the order for the Hardhats, who want to avoid falling to 3-3 in the early part of their season. They're down 5-1 to the 14-1 Gillette Rough Riders with a man at third and Philip Bentz. Here comes Aiden Roberts. Roberts is 1 for 3 tonight, and he was picked off first back in the 3rd inning. Boy, does that look big in retrospect. First pitch is a strike to Aiden Roberts. Here comes the next pitch to Roberts, and that pitch is inside and low for a ball. So glad you're with us. We will be bringing you a Saturday night doubleheader. Get something cold to drink and enjoy some Hardhat baseball Saturday night. There's a spotted ball through the hole between second and third. That's going to be an RBI single for Aiden Roberts. And for the first time since the 1st inning, the Hardhats are on the scoreboard. It's 5-2. Nice piece of hitting by Aiden Roberts. He was able to split the shortstop and third baseman for Gillette and reach base with an RBI single, and now it's 5-2. And Partlow is giving up a run in relief here in the 8th. Hardhats just trying to chisel and chip against the Riders here in Gillette, trailing 5-2. Wilson Kiefer is now the batter. He's down in the count 0-1. Now watches the pitch sail outside for a ball. and the count is even at 1-1.
Not getting the
Can the Hardhats pull off a rally? Can they pull off a comeback? They saw Cheyenne Post 6 constantly rally against them in their split doubleheader in the game played on Sunday down in the capital city of Wyoming. Let's see what happens here. Wilson Kiefer, the batter, waits for the 1-1 pitch, and
Go, Carter, part it off.
And now get set once
the
again.
relief pitcher steps off the rubber, now resets.
Two game.
Here comes the pitch to Carver, and that ball is lifted to center. Drew calls for it and makes the catch.
Drew makes the
Mason
snag.
Drew
They're out.
makes the can of corn catch on a rainy, cold night to end the 8th inning. But the Hardhats do get 1 run back. And through 7.5 innings of play here in Gillette, Wyoming, it's now Gillette 5, Post 22 2. You're watching Hardhats TV. In the top of the 8th inning, the Hardhats scored 1 run. It was not earned. There was 1 hit. As I mentioned, there was also 1 error, and there was 1 man left on base. The Riders 5, the Hardhats 2. We now shift to the bottom of the 8th inning with the Riders sending the top of the order to the plate, and Seth Peterson, Dominic Hecker, and Riley Schilling. You're watching Hardhats TV live from Hadley Field in Gillette. Hayden Hollick is out for another inning of work. He is the 4th pitcher to appear for Coach Kelvin Torby this evening. We have reached the month of May. Can you believe it?
Coming to the
The
plate, the
5th
bottom of
month
the 8th.
of
Number
the
4,
year
Seth Peterson.
began today. I don't know about you, but it feels like 2024 is already going by pretty fast.
For the Hardhats, Seth Peterson coming up to the plate.
This is the
And to add on to his now 1 for
3rd
evening.
opponent the Hardhats have played this year. They faced Sheridan 3 times on opening weekend, Cheyenne twice, and then they will play Gillette again in June. This Gillette team is the real deal. They're playing great tonight. Hardhats just hanging in there. First pitch stop from Hollick is drilled into left field for a base hit by
Peterson
Seth
gets things started.
Peterson.
Leadoff single. That brings us to
Hardhats
plate number 11, Dominic.
are down to their final 3 outs, and they have to traverse a 3-run deficit. And here comes Dominic Hecker with the Bee Gees walk-up music. This Staying Alive music, it gives me a flashback to some 70s movies I remember watching.
Break out the dance moves.
Yeah, break out the dance moves, that's right. And always point into the sky. Even if your body and your hips can't do anything, if you point up in the air, you make it look like you're disco dancing. Here comes a pitch. The ball is, what a play! But just foul by Alex Dietrich. He dove, made the stab on Dominic Hecker's shot down the first base line. But by the time the ball got to his glove, he was in foul territory. And the ball, of course, did bounce. So we will do it all over again. That's a very exciting strike 1. Now Dominic Hecker, who is 0 for 4, comes up to bat. There's a throwback to first, and Peterson stays at first base. Hardhats do not want to fall to 500. That's what they're looking at if they can't pull this game out. There's a throw down to second, and that's a caught stealing. What a great play there by Philip Bentz as he retires Seth Peterson, who had a full head of steam. Good job there by Dawson Inhofer to make the tag.
Yep.
And that is the first out of the inning and a big out. Now here comes a pitch to Dominic Hecker. He fouls the ball out of play. I mentioned there's a lot of foul territory. I also mentioned earlier this is the last season for the Oakland A's. No ballpark, I think, in Major League Baseball history has had more foul territory than Oakland Alameda Coliseum. By the way, there's a ball hit to right field, and that'll be a base hit from Dominic Hecker. And instead
With a
of
nice one-out
runners at the corners with that one-out single, it's just one on, one out for Riley Schilling. Schilling has had a marvelous game. He's yet to be retired at the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Now Riley Schilling comes up with some reggae music, and I've never understood reggae, but I'm not sure I'm the person that's supposed to understand reggae. Here comes the pitch. It's foul down the right field line. Is it fair or is it foul? It is foul, to the relief of Hardhat fans everywhere. No balls and one strike and one out. The Riders trying to build on their 5-2 lead. We're happy you're with us tonight on a cold, windy, and wet evening. The night didn't start wet. It started to rain in the 6th inning. And it's just a steady mist. You have to appreciate the turf infield and dirt. The turf dirt area of the infield. It, of course, is a natural grass surface in the outfield, and I'm sure they put the very best turf out there, but it's hard to grow anything green in Wyoming, let alone by May 1st. Just to see it's as green as it is speaks well to how much moisture we've had so far in the last 3 weeks. Count is now 1-1 to Riley Schilling.
One's across the board.
Here comes the pitch to Schilling. Schilling fouls it away for strike 2, and the count goes to 1-2. Hayden Hollick's been providing some good relief work. Hardhats are definitely going to put some strain in a 24-hour stretch in Billings where they will play 4 7-inning games within 21 hours of each other. That's a lot of baseball in a short period of time. But when it's in Billings, it's worth it. It's just great to go to Billings. 2-2 count now to Riley Schilling. And this will be the last trip the Hardhats will ever make to Billings. As I told you earlier, Legion Baseball will go away after this year in Montana once the High School Activities Association in Montana makes their sanctioned baseball dream a reality. There's a pitch outside for a ball. Count is now 3-2 to Riley Schilling. Schilling's had a good night. He is 2 for 2 with a pair of walks and a run scored. I have to say, there's a pitch to Schilling, and it is foul, just outside the third base line. I've never seen an athlete named Riley who wasn't good. I've never seen an average Riley. All the Rileys are good players, wherever they are. If your name's Riley, you got to be good at it, whatever it is. Here comes the pitch now to Riley Schilling. Throw back to first, not on time. Well, my name is Mike, and there's so many Mikes out there. There's plenty of good Mikes like Michael Jordan, and a lot of average Mikes like me. There's a pitch back to the screen, and that is would have been strike 3, but Schilling reaches base.
We got one down.
And that's actually going to be a walk, and now there's 2 on with 1 out. And here comes Mason Drew. Mason Drew's 1 for 4 tonight with an RBI back in the 5th inning. Drew's also been very reliable in the field. And Drew, his presence alone kind of reminds someone of like an Albert Pujols with like a big bat in the middle of the lineup. You just don't want to mess with Drew. And when he plays music, like when you got this music that he plays, I think they call that song In the Club. You know you're in for an at-bat. So here we go. Looking back to second is Hayden Hollick, and now the umpire calls time inexplicably. Mason Drube, who had an RBI double back in the 5th inning, trying to advance a pair of runners with one out here in the bottom of the 8th. It's 5-2. Drube hits it high and far. Johnson calls for it, makes the catch, and that will be out number 2. Well, Drube has really given a number of pitches a long ride.
Stepping to the plate, number 22, Carver.
And he is, believe it or not, 1 for 5 on the evening. And now here comes Carver Partlow. Carver, who came on in relief as the second member of the bullpen to see action for Gillette tonight in place of Kelby Foss. He's trying to help his own cause even more in this 5-2 game.
And now we've got time called once again. Pollock just
too long. Carver Partlow with runners at first and second with 2 outs. Waits for the pitch here from Double H, Hayden Hollick. Comes a pitch from Hollick. It's hit hard, but right it in Hofer. He's got it on a bounce throw to first in time, and that retires the side and keeps the score. A 3-run game for the Hardhats as we go to the 9th inning. Our score here in Gillette. It's Gillette 5, Post 22 2. This is Hardhats TV. Well, the Hardhats keep it close, keep it competitive, and it looks as though Partlow is out for another inning of work for the Riders. It will not be a save situation as Partlow came in to the 8th inning with the score 5-1. In the bottom of the 8th inning, there were no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. It's a 5-2 ball game. The Hardhats will try to mount a miracle comeback here in the 9th inning, and they will start with the heart of the order. Crossway, Dietrich, and Hollick are due up with Roach to bat if anybody gets on deck. The Hardhats definitely saw Partlow much better than they saw or handled Kelby Foss. Let's see what the heart of the order can do. The Hardhats, they are known for game-winning comebacks when the chips are in the middle of a table. And we apologize, we're having some issues with our picture all of a sudden. Not with our stream. I'm not sure what the deal is. I'm just going to recheck our connections.
Riley Schilling is set once again behind the plate. Carver Partlow coming in for the save opportunity. It'll be Crossway with Dietrich behind him. First 2 batters up for Post 22. Next Riders games will be out in Montana as they get ready for the Bozeman Triangle.
Stepping to the plate, number 29.
And we're back. I apologize. We had a little bit of a picture delay there. If you see the glare of me working on the camera, that is an unintended television appearance by this announcer. And here we go. Not sure if maybe we just have a Wi-Fi blink issue is what I think we have. Not a camera connection issue. So take Crossway. He will lead things off here in the top of the 9th inning. First pitch from Carver Partlow is outside for ball 1. The Riders are 3 outs away from a win over Post 22 that would raise their record to 15-1 to start the year. Hardhats trying to find a way to get on base and make a rally. You never know with this Hardhats team what they can do in the 9th inning or 7th inning of a ball game. We're in the top of the 9th, 5-2 Gillette leading Post 22. There's a pitch low for a ball, and the count goes to 2-1. It's all about getting on base. To quote Moneyball, it's about getting on base. That's what the Hardhats need to do. Here comes a pitch. Catcher sets up outside, watches the pitch sail outside of the zone. Left-handed swinger take cross weight, 1 ball away from getting on base. The count now 3-1 to lead off the top of the 9th inning. Here's a pitch, and it is inside, ball 4. And Tate Crossway draws a leadoff walk. And here comes Alex Dietrich.
Plate number 27, Alex.
Now Dietrich, he has that prodigious power, but it's not about power here. It's really about getting on base. Let's see how Alex handles this at bat against Carver Partlow. We're in the final frame of this exciting ball game with Gillette leading 5-2 here in the top of the 9th inning. Here comes the pitch, and it hits Dietrich in the back of the calf. That's a hit by pitch. And now the Hardhats have a pair of runners and nobody out. And here comes Hayden Hollick representing the tying run to the plate with nobody out. Well, text your friends. Make sure they're watching this 9th inning. Friends don't let friends miss Hardhat rallies. Make sure they get a chance to watch here. We're in the 9th inning. Carver Partlow suddenly in the wrong side of the swimming pool when he didn't want to be on a cold, wet night here in America's energy capital. Hayden Hollick, right-handed hitter. 2 men on. Waits for the pitch from Partlow, and that's over for a strike. That's the first time in a while Carver found the strike zone. Let's see what Carver does on this 0-1 pitch. Hayden Hollick patiently waiting. Hollick 0 for 3 in this ball game. He's due. Here comes the pitch to Hollick, and that pitch is outside for a ball, and the count evens at 1-1. On deck is Aaron Roach. In the hole is Philip Bentz. Hardhats trailing 5-2. They've been out hit 10-5, but this game has a lot yet to be decided. There's a chopper just foul. Oh, that was almost between the third baseman and the bag. Runners will go back to the bases. The runners thought it was fair. They wish, we all wish, that that was foul. That was the right call. Let's give the umpires credit. They may not have made every call the way that we've seen it, but they have done a fine job tonight. We appreciate them being our umpires. Hayden Hollick now with a 1-2 count will await a big pitch here. 2 on, nobody out. Hardhats need 3 runs. Hayden Hollick, representing the tying run, is at bat here, waiting for the Carver Partlow pitch. Here's the pitch, and that ball fouled back. Good swing there by Hayden Hollick to stay alive.
Hollick staying alive. Fans starting to get a little bit louder here. So everybody's now encamped well underneath the overhang here at Live Key Memorial Stadium.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch yet again from Carver Partlow. Hayden Hollick looking for a pitch to hit. Here comes, and he fouls it back again. What a battle this is between Hayden Hollick and Carver Partlow. 2 men on, nobody out. Hardhats trying to find a way here in the 9th.
The advantage on the
Here's the pitch to Hayden. Hayden drills it foul again past Kelvin Torvey at the third base coach's box. This is now going to be the 7th pitch in this at bat. I don't know if there's some lights out closer in the wings warming up. I can't see the Gillette bullpen. Maybe this is Carver Partlow's role to finish this game. Here comes the pitch to Hayden Hollick, and it's kept alive with a tip dribbler. And now we go to the 8th pitch in this at bat. The count still 1 ball and 2 strikes, with the runners taking a little bit of a lead. Hardhats, though, have to be careful on the base pass. It's all about getting 3 runs, and this is the 9th inning. It's do or die for the Hardhats. There's a little fake twirl by the pitcher, Carver. Fake twirls don't work on the diamond very well, and they don't work on the square dance floor. Here comes the next pitch to Hayden Hollick from Carver Partlow. The pitch from Carver is low and inside for a ball. And now the count squares at 2-2. And we have seen 8 pitches. Here comes pitch number 9 of this pivotal at-bat, with Hayden Hollick batting with a pair of Hardhats on first and second base. Carver gets his sign. Hollick has seen every tool in Mr. Partlow's toolbox. Here comes the pitch, and Hollick keeps it alive again. And here comes double-digit pitch number 10 in this epic 9th inning showdown between Carver Partlow and Hayden Hollick. You gotta love it. No matter who wins this duel, this is one of those moments that reminds us how much we love America's pastime. Here comes the pitch to Hayden Hollick. Carver looking for his sign. He's seen all the signs as often as a salesman looks at his Rolodex at this point. Carver Partlow looks back at the runner, fires home, and it's high for ball 3. And we go to pitch number 12 in this at-bat. Wow. Hayden Hollick in the longest at-bat of his life unofficially. He might tell his grandkids about this one if he gets a hit here. He might tell them about it if he gets a walk here. The ball is popped up and playable. And it will be caught for the first out of the inning. And what a battle as Caden Loftus picks up Carver Partlow.
Coming to the plate, number 22,
and Partlow
Aaron Roach
pitches 12 pitches deep to retire Hayden Hollick. And if I was a fan for the writers, and I'm not, nothing against them, but if I was a fan for the writers, I'd give a standing O right there to Partlow. I mean, to retire Hayden Hollick when he kept alive and saw that many pitches was huge. So now there is 1 out and 2 men on. Now Aaron Roach is at the plate representing the tying run. Here comes a pitch to Roach. That's over for a strike. And you sense after winning that dozen-pitch duel that Carver Partlow probably has that adrenaline kicking in that you need to close out a ball game. Here comes a pitch. That's over for a strike. And that pitch had some action at the end of it. And now Aaron Roach is down in the count 0-2. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Roach from Carver Partlow. And Partlow steps off and licks his fingers. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Ross. Or Roach, rather. Carver looks back at second base. now looks home. Now back to second. Now the umpire decides to call time.
A little bit of gamesmanship being played between the pitcher and batter.
The runs at second and first, they really don't mean much in the grand scheme of things. No batter for either team has come close to leaving the ballpark tonight on this misty, chilly, windy evening. Here comes the pitch. Ball is hit right to third. It might be the ball game. He steps on the bag, throws to first, and it's in time. That's a game-winning double play. It's a 5-3 putout, and the Riders win with a double play to close out the top of the ninth inning. In the ninth inning, the Hardhats failed to score. They had no hits, there were no errors, and there was one man left on base. The winning pitcher is Kelby Foss for Gillette. The losing pitcher for the Hardhats is Rowan Fredrickson, and the Hardhats dropped to 3-3. And congratulations, thank you. The Rough Riders celebrate a huge win and win 15-1. And that was quite a game. Well, we thank all of you for tuning in. We will not have an extended post-game show as I need to quickly pack up and catch the team bus. Congratulations to Gillette on their win tonight and their great start. And thank you to everybody here at the Gillette Legion Ball Club for their hospitality tonight. Congratulations to Gillette. Gillette wins 5-2. They out-hit the Hardhats 10-5. Kelby Foss, as I mentioned, the winning pitcher. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk to you Saturday night with a doubleheader from Billings, Montana. Thanks for watching Hardhats TV.